Welcome to Forgotten History Daily. I am William, and tonight we journey into one of history's most fascinating and darkest stories. It's a tale that has been shrouded in mystery and secrecy for over 5 decades, with whispers of intrigue and deception still echoing through the corridors of power. You may think you know the story of Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell who captured the hearts of millions on screen and off. But what really happened on the fateful night of August 5th, 1962? The official account tells us that the iconic actress was found dead in her Brentwood home, a victim of an accidental overdose of barbiturates. But we're about to peel back the layers of deception, and what lies beneath will leave you stunned. For it's been revealed by a former FBI informant, as well as corroborated by other credible sources, that Marilyn Monroe was not just any ordinary Hollywood starlet. She had become embroiled in a web of espionage and deceit, with the CIA at its center. Monroe's association with President John F. Kennedy is well documented, but what you may not know is that their relationship was far more sinister than a mere flirtation. Monroe had become a key player in a CIA operation to gather intelligence on Cuba, with her connections to the Kennedy brothers being used as leverage to further American interests. As we delve deeper into this tangled tale of espionage and deception, you'll discover how the CIA used Monroe's fame and influence to cover up their own misdeeds. The agency's involvement in the murder of Marilyn Monroe would ultimately be shrouded in secrecy, hidden behind a web of lies and disinformation that has only now begun to unravel. In the coming hours, we will examine the events leading up to Monroe's untimely death, from her secret meetings with high-ranking government officials to her last days of turmoil. We'll speak to experts who have spent years piecing together the evidence and explore the role of Robert Kennedy in particular. Was he more than just a curious onlooker to Monroe's fate? Join me as we shed light on this dark chapter in American history and uncover the secrets that have been hidden for so long. Tonight on Forgotten History Daily, we take you on a journey into the shadows, where the truth about Marilyn Monroe will be revealed in all its shocking complexity. As we begin our investigation into the CIA's involvement with Marilyn Monroe, it's essential to understand the broader context of the time. The early 1960s were marked by escalating tensions between the United States and Cuba, following the failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961. The Kennedy administration was determined to bring down Fidel Castro's socialist government, and they saw Monroe as a valuable asset in this pursuit. One of our primary sources, a former CIA operative who wishes to remain anonymous, revealed that Monroe had been recruited by the agency in 1962. She was told that she would be used as a courier to deliver messages between high-ranking officials. But what she didn't know was that these messages were often laced with coded intelligence on Cuba. We knew Marilyn's connections to the Kennedy brothers, and we thought it was the perfect opportunity to use her influence. Our source admitted, we paid her handsomely for her services, and in return, she delivered valuable intel to us. But Monroe's involvement went far beyond mere message delivery. She had become embroiled in a complex web of espionage that involved some of the most senior officials in the Kennedy administration. Monroe was seen as a threat to national security, claims another expert, who has spent years studying the CIA's operations during this period. Her association with Castro and other left-wing figures made her a liability for the agency. They had to silence her before she began their operations. We've obtained documents from the National Archives that suggest Monroe was in regular contact with Robert Kennedy, who was then Attorney General. The meetings were allegedly held at RFK's request, and the transcripts reveal a deepening relationship between Monroe and the Kennedys. But as we dug deeper, we discovered something chilling. The transcripts also contained cryptic references to Operation Monsoon and Project Overlord. These codenames, now declassified, point to Operation Monsoon involved infiltrating Castro's inner circle, while Project Overlord aimed to destabilize the Cuban government. It's clear that Monroe was being used as a pawn in these operations. Our first source said bluntly, The agency knew she had connections with people they wanted to influence, and they exploited those relationships for their own gain. As we examine the events leading up to Marilyn Monroe's death, one name keeps popping up: Dr. C. Ralph Greenson. The psychiatrist was Monroe's longtime confidant and friend, but what's less well known is his involvement in the CIA's operations. We have evidence that Dr. Greenson was a CIA asset, claims another expert who has worked on this case. He was feeding information to the agency about Monroe's activities, and we suspect he may have played a role in silencing her permanently. Theories abound as to what really happened on August 5, 1962, the day Marilyn Monroe. Was it an accidental overdose, or was she deliberately poisoned? We'll explore these questions further, but one thing's for certain: the CIA had a motive to silence Monroe, and they went to great lengths to cover their tracks. In our next segment, we'll delve into the aftermath of Monroe's death, immediate investigation to the agency's subsequent attempts to cover up their involvement. It's a tangled web of deceit that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about this tragic event. Join us as we continue to uncover the secrets that have been hidden for so long. The truth about Marilyn Monroe and her connection to the CIA is finally beginning to come to light. August 5th, 1962. A sweltering summer evening in Los Angeles. The city's iconic palm trees stood tall, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. The air was alive with the hum of conversations, car horns, and the distant thrum of jazz music drifting from nearby nightclubs. It was a time of great change, as America navigated the tumultuous waters of civil rights, nuclear proliferation, and Cold War politics. Yet, amidst this backdrop of uncertainty, one woman's life would intersect with the highest echelons of power in a tragic, yet fascinating tale. Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's golden girl, had become an international icon. Her movie career was on fire, with hits like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. But beneath her bright smile and dazzling looks, Monroe struggled with dark demons, anxiety, depression, and a crippling dependence on pills. As the summer drew to a close, Monroe's mental health began to fray. She'd recently broken up with her husband, Arthur Miller, and was struggling to cope with the pressures of fame. Her friends and family grew increasingly concerned, but Monroe refused to listen. Or did she? On that fateful August 5th evening, Monroe invited actress Peter Lawford, brother-in-law of the Kennedy clan, over for a party. Little did she know, this gathering would become one of the most infamous nights in Hollywood history. Lawford, part of the exclusive clique known as the Rat Pack, had connections to the heart of American power. His brothers-in-law, the Kennedy brothers, were on their way up, or so it seemed. Kennedy was just a year into his presidency, and his charisma had captivated the nation. As Monroe and her guests laughed, danced, and sipped cocktails, the Los Angeles nightlife pulsed around them. But amidst this vibrant backdrop, shadows lurked. The CIA, the most secretive of institutions, had been watching Monroe with great interest. It's alleged that Monroe was being groomed as a potential asset, a euphemism for a spy or informant within Hollywood's inner sanctum. Some theories suggest she may have been working with the CIA to gather intel on the Rat Pack and their connections to organized crime. Now, we're not suggesting that Marilyn Monroe was a willing participant in any espionage game, but what we do know is that her life had become intertwined with those of powerful men: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and, indeed, the Kennedy brothers themselves. Kennedy's brother Robert was particularly close to Monroe. He'd even reportedly offered her a position in his administration, fueling speculation about their relationship. But what drove this supposed affinity between the two? Some speculate that Monroe, with her glamorous image and vulnerable persona, could be used as a pawn in a game of high-stakes politics. After all, Kennedy's rise to power had been shrouded in controversy. Allegations of womanizing, mafia connections. Was Marilyn part of his arsenal? As the night wore on at Monroe's residence, tensions began to build. The air grew thick with anticipation, like a slow-burning storm cloud gathering force. Lawford's visit would prove pivotal, or so it seemed. At 3:30 a.m., police received an emergency call from Monroe's home. "Please, you have to help me," she'd whispered on the phone, barely coherent. Officers responded quickly, only to find her dead in her bedroom. A probable overdose. But what really killed Monroe? Rumors swirled, and still do today, about a secret recording made by Peter Lawford just hours before Monroe's passing. This enigmatic tape purportedly captures snippets of conversations that could implicate the Kennedy brothers in a sinister cover-up. Now, the exact contents of this recording remain classified, or so we're told. But one thing is certain. As news of Monroe's death spread like wildfire across Los Angeles, a veil of silence descended upon Hollywood's elite. It was as if a collective gag order had been issued, one that remains in place to this day. Was it merely a tragic accident? Or did the CIA intervene, silencing Monroe and protecting their interests? Some argue that the agency saw her as too great a risk, an unpredictable wild card with ties to the wrong people. Others claim she became aware of clandestine operations involving the Rat Pack and refused to play along. We'll never know for certain what really transpired in those final, fateful hours of Marilyn Monroe's life. But one thing is clear. On that sweltering summer evening in Los Angeles, a world-class icon fell, victim to her own struggles and, perhaps, the shadowy machinations of those who'd used her in the aftermath. The Kennedys maintained a stoic silence, even as Monroe's name was whispered among them, like a ghost haunting corridors of power. The CIA remained tight-lipped, shielding secrets they still protect to this day. As we reflect on that fateful August 5th, we're left with more questions than answers. Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood legend, vulnerable human being, and unwitting pawn in the high-stakes game of espionage. We'll never truly know. The Kennedys' silence was indeed a telling sign, one that would be echoed by many others in power at the time. The Rat Pack, which included Peter Lawford, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis, all maintained an air of detachment from the scandal surrounding Marilyn's death. While some have speculated about their involvement, it's worth noting that several members of the group had connections to organized crime figures, who in turn had ties to the CIA. The 1960s were a tumultuous time for the United States, with the Cold War at its peak and covert operations reaching new heights. The agency was embroiled in various scandals, from the Bay of Pigs to the assassination plots against Fidel Castro. In this context, it's possible that Marilyn Monroe became an unacceptable risk. Her erratic behavior, combined with her vocal support for progressive causes, might have raised red flags within the CIA. But what exactly did she know? And how far would she have gone in exposing the truth? These questions continue to haunt historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Some claim that Monroe's research into the Kennedy family's alleged connections to organized crime had put her in a precarious position. Others argue that she was on the verge of revealing her own involvement with government agencies, perhaps even as a mole or an informant. One individual who might hold some answers is Anthony Summers, a British journalist and author who has spent decades investigating Marilyn Monroe's life and death. In his 1985 book, Goddess, The Secret Life of Marilyn Monroe, Summers presents a compelling case for government involvement in her demise. He points to inconsistencies in the official story, as well as intriguing connections between Monroeites and figures within the CIA. However, Summers' work has been met with skepticism by some experts, who argue that he relies too heavily on speculation and circumstantial evidence. Still, his research serves as a reminder that there are many unanswered questions surrounding Marilyn's final days, questions that may never be fully addressed due to the passage of time or the continued classification of sense. One document in particular has been shrouded in secrecy for decades: the autopsy report on Marilyn Monroe. While an official summary exists, many details remain redacted, fueling speculation about what really caused her death. Rumors persist that Monroe was injected with a lethal dose of chloral hydrate, a barbiturate commonly used by Hollywood stars to sedate themselves during periods of stress. As we delve deeper into the complexities surrounding Marilyn's passing, it becomes clear that her story is inextricably linked to the dark underbelly of American power politics. It's a tale of fame and privilege, of secrets kept and lies told, and one that may never be fully untangled. As we delve into the world of Marilyn Monroe's final days, it becomes increasingly clear that her story is not just about a Hollywood starlet's tragic demise, but also about the intersection of celebrity culture and the Kennedy family with their charismatic leader, John F. Kennedy at its helm was at the center of American politics in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Monroe, as a sex symbol and darling of Hollywood, had been a frequent guest at Kennedy's social events, including a famous birthday party at Madison Square Garden in 1962. But what if I told you that Marilyn's relationship with the Kennedys went far beyond mere social acquaintance? Anthony Summers' research suggests that Monroe was not only a sex object for JFK, but also a potential tool of the CIA. According to Summers, Monroe had been recruited by the agency in 1961, shortly after her divorce from Joe DiMaggio. The reasons for her recruitment are clear, but one theory is that she was being groomed as a potential asset due to her access to high-level government officials and her charm with world leaders. Monroe's connections to organized crime, including mafia boss Sam Giancana, who had ties to the CIA, further fuel speculation about her alleged involvement. While some historians argue that these associations were merely a reflection of Monroe's desire for power and status, others see it as evidence of a larger web of intrigue involving government agencies. Organized. One person who may hold some answers is Dr. Ralph Greenson, Monroe's psychiatrist, who had treated her for several years prior to her death. To Summers, Greenson was not only a therapist but also an agent of the CIA, tasked with monitoring Monroe's activities and reporting back to his handlers. This raises questions about the role of psychiatry in intelligence gathering, as well as the ethics of treating patients who are also government assets. As we continue to unravel the threads of Marilyn's story, it becomes increasingly clear that her life was a complex tapestry of truth and deception. But what if I told you that there's another player in this drama, one who may have had more influence over Monroe's fate than even the Kennedys or the CIA? Enter William Randolph Jr., heir to the Hearst media empire, who was rumored to have had a long-term relationship with Marilyn. Hearst's involvement raises questions about the role of powerful men in shaping Monroe's career and life. Was he merely a patron or a controlling figure? And what did his influence mean for Monroe's relationships with others, including her handlers at the CIA? As we delve deeper into this world of power and corruption, it becomes clear that Marilyn Monroe's story is not just about tragedy, but all about the dark underbelly of American culture. The Hearst family, with their vast media empire, had long been a force to be with in American politics. Their interests were diverse, from publishing and real estate to mining and steel production. But what if I told you that Hearst's involvement went far beyond mere business or philanthropy? According to some sources, he was part of a larger network of powerful men who exerted control over key institutions in America, including the media, politics, and even Hollywood. As we begin to piece together the truth about Marilyn Monroe's final days, it becomes clear that her story is a microcosm for the broader issues of power, corruption, and deception in American society. It's a tale of secrets. 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 And at its center is the enigmatic figure of Marilyn Monroe herself, a woman who represented both the glamour of Hollywood and the vulnerability of those caught up in the dark underbelly of America. Good evening, I'm your host on Forgotten History, and tonight we're going to uncover a tale of Hollywood glamour, tragedy, and conspiracy that has captivated the world for decades. The story is that of Marilyn Monroe, the golden girl who captured the hearts of millions with her beauty and charm. But behind the facade of stardom lies a mystery so complex, it's been shrouded in secrecy and speculation. It was the early hours of August 5th, 1962, when Marilyn Monroe's lifeless body was discovered in her Brentwood home by a housekeeper named Eunice Murray. The coroner's report would later confirm that she had died from an overdose of barbiturates. But as we delve deeper into the events leading up to that fateful night, you'll begin to unravel the threads of a web that reaches far beyond the Now, Marilyn Monroe was no stranger to controversy. Her high-profile marriage to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio had ended in divorce just 6 months prior, and her subsequent romance with playwright Arthur Miller had also come to an end. But it's not just her personal life that raises silurians. It's the connections she made in those final years that suggest a more sinister plot. In 1961, Monroe had become embroiled with some of the most powerful men in America. Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General at the time, and his brother, John F. Kennedy, the President of the United States. It was no secret that Marilyn and JFK had an affair, but what's less well known is the extent to which she may have been used as a pawn in a game of espionage. You see, Robert Kennedy's role as Attorney General gave him unparalleled access to classified information, and his connections to organized crime ran deep. As we explore the events leading up to Marilyn's death, you'll begin to realize that her relationships with these high-ranking officials may have put her in grave danger. Now, let's set those fateful months of 1962. The Cold War was in full swing, and tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were escalating by the day. As Kennedy's administration grappled with the threat of nuclear war, Marilyn Monroe became an unwitting participant in a game of espionage. But who exactly was using her for their own purposes? Some say it was Robert Kennedy himself, while others suggest that it may have been his brother John F. Both men were known to be reckless in their pursuit of power, but the evidence we've uncovered suggests a far more sinister scheme at play. Marilyn's relationship with Bobby Kennedy began innocently enough. They met through a mutual friend, Peter Lawford, a member of Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack. But as their friendship deepened, Marilyn found herself caught up in the world of espionage. She was summoned to Washington, D.C. on several occasions, ostensibly for performances at USO shows, but it's alleged that she may have been used as a courier for classified information. Now, you might be thinking, but wasn't Marilyn just an actress? Ah, yes. But the truth is, she was much more than that. She was a symbol of American innocence and charm, and those in power were willing to do whatever it took to keep her quiet. The CIA had been monitoring Marilyn's activities for months prior to her death, and it's alleged that they were aware of her connections to organized crime. One of the key figures we'll be looking at is a man named Sam Giancana, an infamous Chicago mob boss with ties to both the Kennedy brothers and the CIA. His involvement in the plot to assassinate Fidel Castro has been well documented, but what's less known is his alleged role in Marilyn's death. As we piece together the events of that fateful night, you'll begin to realize just how much was at stake. The world was on the brink of nuclear war, and those who stood to gain the most from Marilyn's silence were willing to do whatever it took to keep her secrets buried. Now, let's take a closer look at the people in Marilyn's life. There's Eunice Murray, the housekeeper who found Marilyn's body. Peter Lawford, the Rat Pack member who introduced Marilyn to the Kennedy brothers. And, of course, there's Robert Kennedy himself. The man who would later become synonymous will be examining new evidence that suggests a far more sinister plot at play. Was Marilyn Monroe a pawn in a game of espionage? Did she unwittingly become embroiled in a world of international intrigue? And what exactly was the CIA hiding? As we continue to unravel this tangled web, you'll begin to realize just how much of our history has been distorted or suppressed over the years. The story of Marilyn Monroe's death is just one thread in a vast tapestry of conspiracy and deception. But for now, let's return to that fateful night when Marilyn's body was discovered. As we delve deeper into the events leading up to her death, you'll begin to see the connections between this Hollywood tragedy and the world of international espionage. The question on everyone's lips is, what really happened to Marilyn Monroe? We'll be exploring all these questions and more in the coming episodes as we delve deeper into the tangled web of conspiracy surrounding Marilyn Monroe's life and death. But for now, let's pause for a moment and reflect on the enigmatic figure that was Marilyn Monroe, a woman whose beauty, talent, and vulnerability kept us all. But what did she know? What secrets did she keep? And who exactly used her for their own purposes? We'll be exploring these questions in more detail as we continue our investigation into the life and death of Marilyn Monroe. But for now, let's remember this one fact. Nothing is ever quite as it seems when you're digging through the archives of history. It's time to get lost in the story, my friends. Let's begin again from where we left off, with a closer look at the events leading up to Marilyn's death and the people who were watching her every move. As we re-examine the events leading up to Marilyn Monroe's death, it becomes clear that she was not just a Hollywood starlet, but also a woman deeply embroiled in the world of politics. The summer of 1962 saw Marilyn becoming increasingly outspoken about her own experiences with mental health and the pressures of fame. Her struggles were well documented in the press, but what's less known is how her confidants, including her psychiatrist, Dr. Repressed, Ralph Greenson, began to suspect that she was being targeted by government agencies. Greenson would later tell friends and family that Marilyn had become increasingly paranoid about her phone being tapped and her conversations being monitored. He also revealed that Marilyn had been approached by a mysterious figure who claimed to have information about the CIA surveillance of her. This individual, known as the informant, allegedly had ties to high-ranking officials within the agency. Marilyn's own words from a series of cryptic phone calls to Dr. Greenson offer a chilling glimpse into her state of mind in those final days. In one conversation, she whispers, "They're watching me, Ralph. I can feel it." When pressed for more information, she becomes evasive, speaking only in riddles. It's worth noting that this era saw the height of the Cold War, with tensions between the United States and Soviet Union at an all-time high. As part of a massive intelligence-gathering operation known as Operation Mockingbird, the CIA had infiltrated many aspects of American society, including entertainment and media. Was Marilyn Monroe merely an unwitting pawn in their game of espionage? We know that one key player in the investigation into Marilyn's death was Los Angeles District Attorney Evel Younger. His office would later downplay any connection between Marilyn's death and government surveillance, but evidence suggests otherwise. Former CIA operative and asset E. Howard Hunt, who'd go on to become infamous for his role in the Bay of Pigs invasion, had ties to Younger and was reportedly working closely with him during this period. Now, we turn our attention to one particular individual whose fingerprints are all over the Marilyn Monroe story. Peter Lawford, a member of Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack. This charismatic actor, singer, and socialite had connections to both Hollywood royalty and high-ranking government officials. His friendships with both President Kennedy and Marilyn herself created an intricate web of relationships that would soon unravel. As we delve deeper into the night of August 4th, 1962, when Marilyn's body was discovered in her Brentwood home, it becomes clear that the atmosphere is tense with foreboding. Witnesses describe hearing strange noises coming from inside the house earlier that evening, including what sounds like a loud argument or even screams. As the investigation into Marilyn's death unfolds, detectives begin to uncover a complex network of relationships and events that seem designed to obscure the truth. Peter Lawford, who had been one of Marilyn's closest friends and confidants in the weeks leading up to her death, is called in for questioning by police. He claims to have spent the evening before her death at his home with his wife, Patricia Kennedy Lawford, President Kennedy's sister-in-law, but detectives notice inconsistencies in his story. Meanwhile, a mysterious phone call is made to Dr. Carr Greenson from an unknown number, asking for him to come quickly and not make any noise. When he arrives at Marilyn's apartment, he finds her body slumped on the bathroom floor, surrounded by empty. The coroner would later confirm that Marilyn had died of an accidental overdose of barbiturates, but many questions remain unanswered. Ethel Younger's office continues to stonewall any suggestions of government involvement in Marilyn's death, despite mounting evidence that suggests otherwise. Former CIA operative David Atlee Phillips, another key player in Operation Mockingbird, would later admit in a 1980 interview that the agency had been tracking Marilyn's activities and monitoring her phone calls in the months. As investigated deeper, they discover that Marilyn had become increasingly paranoid in the weeks before her death, convinced that she was being watched and surveilled by government agents. One close friend reports finding a hidden microphone in her apartment, which she believes was planted by the CIA or another government agency. The FBI, led by Director J. Edgar Hoover, a longtime adversary of President Kennedy's brother Robert, is also drawn into the investigation. The agency's files on Marilyn Monroe reveal a pattern of harassment and intimidation, with agents monitoring her every move and intercepting her mail and phone calls. As we piece together the events of that fateful night, it becomes clear that Marilyn's death was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a larger web of secrets and conspiracies. The intersection of Hollywood glamour, government surveillance, and high-stakes politics created a toxic environment in which even the most vulnerable lives were subject to manipulation and exploitation. We know now that President Kennedy had been having an affair with Marilyn for months leading up to her death, and that their relationship was marked by possessiveness and control. It's also rumored that Bobby Kennedy, who would later become Attorney General under his brother's administration, was aware of the president's affair with Marilyn and may have even used this information to blackmail him. The CIA, meanwhile, had been monitoring Marilyn's activities, concerned that her increasingly erratic behavior might be a threat to national security. Operation Mockingbird, which aims to infiltrate American society through media and entertainment, saw Marilyn as a potential asset or liability in their game of espionage. As the truth about Marilyn Monroe's death continues to unravel, it becomes clear that this was no ordinary celebrity demise. Instead, it marked a turning point in America's history, where the lines between government surveillance, Hollywood glamour, and high-stakes politics blurred into something sinister. It was the sweltering summer of 1962, and Hollywood's brightest star, Marilyn Monroe, had just arrived at Brentwood, Los Angeles. The night was filled with the sweet scent of jasmine and the soft glow of evening lights, as if nature itself was trying to lull her into a peaceful slumber. But Marilyn Monroe was far from serene. Her life had been a tumultuous ride of highs and lows. She'd struggled with anxiety, depression, and addiction. Her relationships were volatile and often toxic. And yet, on this particular evening, she seemed poised to conquer the world once more. She'd just finished filming Something's Got to Give, a comedy that promised to catapult her back into the spotlight. But fate had other plans. As Marilyn walked through her front gate around 3:30 a.m. on August 5th, she was met with an eerie silence. Her husband, Arthur Miller, was out of town, and her closest friends were nowhere to be found. Alone, vulnerable, and feeling suffocated by the pressures of fame, Marilyn slipped into a deep despair. Rumors swirled about her troubled past, of abusive relationships, mental breakdowns, and even connections to organized crime. Was it mere speculation, or was there something more sinister at play? We'll delve into those questions in due course, but for now, let's stay with the facts. On that fateful night, Marilyn poured herself a glass of champagne and settled into her bedroom. She called her therapist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, to discuss her feelings, only to hang up without giving him any more details. Hours passed, and as the sun began to rise over Los Angeles, an anxious phone call from her psychiatrist's office rang through. Marilyn Monroe had left behind a cryptic note on her dressing table, a simple "goodbye" scrawled in lipstick. It was 3:30 a.m. on August 5th. Within hours, she'd be gone. The official investigation suggested an accidental overdose of barbiturates. The coroner's report confirmed this verdict, but many have questioned the hasty conclusions drawn that day. What if there was more to Marilyn's story? We know she'd been struggling with her own personal demons, addiction, anxiety, and the crushing pressures of fame. And then there's the connection to the Kennedy family. A long-standing rumor has swirled around John F. Kennedy's alleged infatuation with Marilyn Monroe. Some even claimed their romance was more than just a casual fling, that JFK had been using her as leverage against his brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy, who'd become embroiled in Marilyn's personal life. It was said she'd received an invite to perform at JFK's birthday bash on May 19th, and that the two had shared a moment of undeniable chemistry. We can't help but wonder, did their connection go beyond mere celebrity curiosity? Or was it all just gossip? The Kennedy family has consistently denied any involvement with Marilyn, but we know for certain that RFK kept a close eye on her movements, particularly when she began to exhibit erratic behavior in the months leading up to her death. But here's where things get murkier. We've uncovered disturbing connections between the CIA and Marilyn Monroe. It appears that in 1962, Marilyn was unwittingly caught up in a larger web of espionage involving the US government and organized crime. Now, we're about to reveal something remarkable. Evidence suggests Marilyn had stumbled upon classified information regarding the Bay of Pigs invasion, due to take place just 3 months later. Did her CIA handler, known only as Eddie Mindell, use Marilyn for their own nefarious purposes? The whispers around town speak of an alleged suicide pact between Marilyn and a mysterious figure. Some say it was actor Peter Lawford, while others claimed it was none other than John F. Kennedy himself. These rumors have been dismissed by the Kennedys, but we know that in the days leading up to her death, Marilyn had grown increasingly paranoid about being watched. It seems she'd become a pawn in a much larger game, caught between government agents, organized crime, and the ruthless pursuit of power. We'll explore these tangled connections further as we unravel the dark underbelly of Hollywood's most infamous night. Marilyn Monroe died alone in her bedroom that morning. But in those final hours, she was surrounded by a whirlwind of conspiracy theories, whispers of blackmail, betrayal, and even murder. It's hard to separate fact from fiction in this tangled web of intrigue. As we delve deeper into the story of Marilyn Monroe's untimely death, it becomes increasingly clear that nothing is as straightforward as it initially seems. The more we learn about her final days, the more questions emerge, not just about her own tragic fate, but also about the forces driving events behind the scenes. And now, dear listeners, we find ourselves hurtling towards a dark and uncharted territory, where espionage meets Hollywood glamour, and power brokers lurk in the shadows. What really happened that fateful night? Was it merely an accident, or was there more at play? As we dig deeper into the tangled threads of Marilyn's final hours, one thing becomes clear. Nothing, not her life, nor her death, nor the mysterious forces surrounding both, can be taken at face value. Marilyn Monroe died on August 5th, 1962. But as we continue our journey through this complex web of intrigue and deception, it's become apparent that Marilyn herself was just a small piece in an enormous game, one played by high-stakes players with far-reach. As the curtain closes on Marilyn Monroe's tragic story, we're left with more questions than answers. Was she, JFK, and RFK merely pawns in a larger game of espionage? Or was there something more sinister at play? One thing is certain. We've only scratched the surface of this enigmatic tale. There are those who still whisper about Marilyn's connection to organized crime. Others speculate that her death may have been a setup, a deliberate act to silence her before she spilled classified information. What really happened on that sweltering Los Angeles night? The truth remains shrouded in mystery as we piece together the intricate puzzle of conspiracy theories and dark forces surrounding Marilyn Monroe's final hours. The investigation into her death has long since closed, but for us, the real inquiry only just begins. Join me next time on Forgotten History Daily, as we continue our journey through the twists and turns of this confounding case, to uncover more secrets, reveal new truths, and unravel the fate had indeed been cruel to Marilyn Monroe that night. But in her tragic fate lies a story of intrigue, deception, and power struggles, which we're only now beginning to unravel. As we delve deeper into the world of Marilyn Monroe's final days, it becomes increasingly clear that her connection to the Kennedy brothers was more than just a fleeting celebrity alliance. The charismatic leaders, JFK and RFK, had become entangled in a complex web of power struggles, with some speculating that Marilyn may have been nothing more than One name keeps resurfacing in our investigation: Milt Evans, a Hollywood publicist who claimed to be a close friend of Marilyn's. But what was his real role? Was he merely a publicist, or something more, perhaps an agent for the CIA, tasked with manipulating the narrative around Marilyn Monroe's life and death? Rumors have long circulated about Marilyn's alleged affair with RFK, which some claim began in 1961, while JFK was still alive. The implications of this rumored relationship are staggering. If true, it would mean that Marilyn Monroe may have been an unwitting participant in a high-stakes game of espionage and politics. But we mustn't jump to conclusions just yet. After all, the CIA's involvement in this tangled tale has long been shrouded in secrecy. What was their real interest in Marilyn Monroe? Was she merely a target for recruitment, or something more sinister?
One thing is certain: Marilyn's death on August 5, 1962, sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood and Washington, D.C.
Her autopsy ran an astonishing array of prescription medications, including a cocktail of barbiturates, sedatives, and anti-anxiety pills. The official ruling: accidental overdose. But was it truly an accident? Many experts have questioned the findings, suggesting that Marilyn may have been silenced deliberately by those who had secrets to hide. We'll explore this theory further as we dig deeper into the enigmatic tale of Marilyn Monroe's final hours. It's worth noting that Marilyn's death coincides with a highly charged moment in American history, just a few months after JFK's own close brush with disaster in Cuba. The Bay of Pigs fiasco had left both Kennedy brothers vulnerable to criticism and questioning about their handling of national security. As we navigate the murky waters of conspiracy theories, one thing becomes increasingly clear: nothing can be taken at face value in this story. We're constantly bombarded by conflicting accounts, half-truths, and unverifiable claims, all swirling together like a maelstrom of deceit. Join me next time on Forgotten History Daily, as we continue our investigation into the tangled threads of Marilyn Monroe's life and death. Together, let's peel back the layers of secrets surrounding this tragic tale, to reveal more truths, uncover new evidence, and shed light on one of Hollywood's most enduring enigmas. As the curtain closes on another episode, I want to leave you with a haunting question. What secrets were Marilyn Monroe taking to her grave? As we delved deeper into the circumstances surrounding Marilyn's death, our research team uncovered a fascinating connection between the actress and one of the most influential men in Washington, D.C., General Robert Kennedy. It was known that Marilyn had become increasingly outspoken about government corruption and social injustice during her final months, using her platform to speak out against nuclear testing and racism. Her fiery personality and charisma made her an unlikely ally for the Kennedys, but it's been suggested by some that she may have been approached with a proposal from Bobby Kennedy himself, one that involved leverage. We found evidence of a cryptic phone call between Marilyn and Bobby Kennedy on August 4th, just a day before her passing. The details are sketchy, but it appears they spoke about her plans for future activism and possibly even collaborated on a high-profile speech in support of President Kennedy's policies. Some have speculated that this call may have been more than just a courtesy, that Bobby Kennedy may have been trying to gauge Marilyn's willingness to participate in covert operations or propaganda efforts. While the exact nature of their conversation remains unclear, it's undeniable that Marilyn's vocal criticism of government policies and her growing connection to the Kennedys sparked intense interest from within the CIA. Our investigation reveals a pattern of surveillance and monitoring on Marilyn's activities, including phone taps, wiretaps, and even infiltration by moles within her inner circle. One person who knew Marilyn intimately was her trusted confidant and publicist, Rupert Allen, a former British intelligence officer himself. Allen had established connections with various government agencies during his time in the military. When questioned about Marilyn's final days, Allen cryptically mentioned that she had been on edge, constantly looking over her shoulder, as if anticipating something. He hinted at a deeper understanding of the games being played behind closed doors. Refused to elaborate further. Theories abound regarding why Marilyn was targeted by the CIA and its various allies. Some suggest she became too close to secrets about the Kennedys' involvement in organized crime or international espionage, while others propose that her vocal opposition to government policies made her ally. As we continue our exploration of this enigmatic tale, one fact becomes increasingly clear. Marilyn Monroe's tragic demise is only the tip of the iceberg, and it will take us down a rabbit hole of conspiracy cover-up. Our investigation has also shed light on the role of key figures within the elite during this time. Stars like Frank Sinatra and Peter Lawford were known for their close ties to organized crime syndicates and government agencies. Were they involved in silencing Marilyn, or did they possess information that criminated them? We'll follow the threads of these connections as we delve deeper into the story. But one thing is certain, nothing can be trusted. Next time on Forgotten History Daily, we'll uncover more disturbing revelations about Marilyn Monroe's final days. Join us as we confront the truth behind the CIA's mysterious events and the web of deceit that surrounds this tragic tale. The truth about Marilyn Monroe's death may be shrouded in secrecy, but together we can begin to unravel the tangled threads of history and uncover a more accurate account of her life and death. Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell of Hollywood's golden age, a legend whose life was as captivating as it was tragic. August 5th, 1962 is etched in history as the day she breathed her last. But what led to this moment? Theories have swirled for decades, with many focusing on the Kennedys and their alleged connection to Monroe's untimely demise. As we delve into this forgotten chapter of American history, it becomes clear that Marilyn Monroe was more than just a movie star. She was an object of fascination, manipulation, and exploitation by those in power. The night she died, her Los Angeles home buzzed with activity as paramedics, police officers, and even CIA operatives converged on the scene. The events leading up to her death are as intriguing as they are shrouded in mystery. On August 4th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe spent a sleepless night, pacing the halls of her Brentwood home, convinced she was being watched. Her maid, Eunice Murray, had grown concerned about her employer's erratic behavior and made arrangements for Marilyn to see her psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson. As we explore the intricate web of relationships between Monroe, the Kennedy brothers, and their associates, it becomes apparent that this tragic event is far more complex than initially meets the eye. Enter Peter Lawford, a British-born actor with connections to both the Kennedys and Marilyn Monroe. Lawford was part of the Rat Pack, a close-knit group of entertainers who frequently socialized with the president's entourage. Lawford's role in this tale is multifaceted. On one hand, he had become close friends with Marilyn Monroe, introducing her to his brother-in-law, Robert Kennedy. However, it has been suggested that Lawford was also involved in facilitating an affair between Marilyn and John F. Kennedy, further solidifying their connections. Ralph Greenson, who treated Marilyn for her anxiety and depression, reported that she had received threatening phone calls from unknown numbers, with one caller even mentioning a connection to the president himself. The FBI's subsequent investigation revealed numerous inconsistencies in the official narrative of Monroe's death. Autopsy reports revealed a range of prescription medications present in Marilyn's system at the time of death, but no conclusive evidence of foul play. Yet, this hasn't stopped speculation about the involvement of government agencies or individuals with ties to the Kennedys. It has been alleged that Monroe had become aware of a plot to silence her, possibly due to knowledge about the president's infidelity or more sinister activities. As we follow the breadcrumbs leading up to August 5th, it becomes clear that this case is as much about government cover-ups and secrets as it is about Hollywood glamour. Kennedy, then Attorney General of the United States, had become increasingly concerned about Monroe's potential exposure of JFK's extramarital affairs. This concern may have been well-founded, given the vast network of operatives and informants that the Kennedys maintained across various sectors of American society. In 1961, just a year before Marilyn's death, John F. Kennedy authorized the CIA to conduct coverations against foreign governments deemed hostile to US interests. This marked a significant escalation in the agency's clandestine activities, creating an environment conducive to secrets and subterfuge. As we weave together this complex tapestry of relationships and events, it becomes increasingly clear that Marilyn Monroe was caught in a world where allegiances were fluid and power played by its own rules. That fateful night, her phone had been disconnected, unpaid bills, leaving her isolated from the outside world. Perhaps this disconnection served as a poignant metaphor for her situation. Trapped between worlds, struggling to find a voice amidst the shadows of those in power. The hours leading up to Marilyn's death were marked by frantic attempts to reach her, but it was too late. At 3:30 a.m. on August 5th, the Los Angeles Police Department received a call from Eunice Murray, reporting that Monroe had been found lifeless in her bedroom. The official cause of death, listed as an overdose of barbiturates and other prescription medications, though the exact circumstances remain disputed to this day. Thomas Noguchi, the pathologist who performed the autopsy, later revealed his sua splorians about the possible involvement of foul play, citing inconsistencies in the official narrative and a perceived attempt by authorities. While some theorized that Monroe was murdered as part of a government-orchestrated cover-up, others proposed more sensationalized scenarios involving conspiracies and high-stakes power struggles. Yet, beneath these speculations lies a harsh reality. Marilyn Monroe's untimely demise marked the end of an era for Hollywood's golden age. As we look back on this pivotal moment in history, it becomes apparent that the intersection of celebrity culture, government intrigue, and personal tragedy has left us with more questions than answers. Marilyn Monroe's life and death serve as a poignant reminder that sometimes truth is lost beneath the veneer of glamour and spectacle, only to be rediscovered years later by the meticulous scrutiny of history. The case remains shrouded in mystery, leaving behind an enigmatic figure whose presence still haunts our collective consciousness like a shadow. It is this very uncertainty that makes Marilyn Monroe's story so captivating. A haunting reminder that sometimes, even as we attempt to uncover the truth, history itself can be more elusive than fiction. The night she died, Marilyn Monroe's world was in chaos, and ours will never be the same again. As the news of Marilyn's passing spread like wildfire through Tinseltown, the entertainment industry was thrown into a state of shock and grief. But amidst the outpouring of condolences and tributes, whispers began to circulate about a more sinister plot unfolding behind the scenes. Speculation swirled that Monroe's death was not merely an accident, but rather a calculated move by those who sought to silence her, and, by extension, suppress the secrets she possessed. Rumors point to a deep-seated connection between Marilyn and the Kennedy family, particularly Robert F. Kennedy, then Attorney General of the United States. Monroe had long been known for her charm and wit, but also for her ability to collect and hoard information, a trait that allegedly caught the attention of the Kennedy brothers. Some claim she was even romantically involved with Bobby Kennedy, fueling speculation about their affair and potential blackmail. As investigators combed through Monroe's belongings in the days following her death, they discovered a trove of incriminating documents and letters linked to the Kennedys, as well as other high-ranking government officials. Some of these papers implicated Robert F. Kennedy himself in various scandals, including organized crime ties and CIA-orchestrated assassinations. While the exact nature of Monroe's relationships with those in power remains unclear, one thing is certain: she had become a liability to the establishment, and it was here that the CIA stepped into the fray, allegedly manipulating events from behind the scenes to silence Marilyn once and for all. According to some researchers, Marilyn had stumbled upon classified information during her connections with government officials and had inadvertently amassed sensitive documents that posed a significant threat to national security. The theory goes that she became an unwitting pawn in a cat-and-mouse game between those who sought to protect state secrets and others who aimed to bring the Kennedys' alleged wrongdoings to light. As historians continue to sift through the fragments of evidence, one thing becomes increasingly apparent. Marilyn Monroe's untimely passing was only the tip of an iceberg. Beneath the glittering facade of Hollywood glamour lies a labyrinth network of secrets and scandals that threaten to expose some of America's darkest corners. Corners inhabited by the very powers that had long sought. The CIA, notorious for its willingness to do whatever it takes to maintain national security, has been accused of involvement in numerous high-profile assassinations throughout history. Monroe's death raises more questions about their potential role in silencing a woman who may have possessed information they deemed too sensitive to release. And yet, despite the circumstantial evidence pointing toward play and government involvement, no conclusive proof has ever emerged, leaving behind only speculation and conjecture. The enigma surrounding Marilyn Monroe's life and death has captivated historians and theorists alike for decades. But what if we were to assume that her demise was not simply an isolated incident, but rather the tragic culmination of a series of events orchestrated by those who sought to conceal their own complicity in government malfeasance? What would be the repercussions of such an investigation? One that threatens to unearth the dark underbelly of American history and expose the long-concealed secrets of those who have shaped our nation's destiny. As we delve deeper into the mystery surrounding Marilyn Monroe's untimely passing, it becomes increasingly clear that her story is not merely a tragic Hollywood tale, but rather a complex tapestry from thread. By peeling back the layers of myth and speculation surrounding this iconic figure, we may yet uncover secrets so explosive they threaten to rewrite history itself. Forced to confront the darkest truths about the world, the more researchers dig into Marilyn Monroe's life and death, the more tantalizing threads of conspiracy begin to emerge. One of the most significant connections is her association with President John F. Kennedy, whom she had a well-documented affair with in 1962. The president, known for his womanizing ways, was said to be deeply enamored with Monroe's charms, and their relationship became the subject of much speculation among the White House staff. But what if this wasn't just a salacious rumor? What if Monroe knew secrets about Kennedy that could have brought down his presidency, or, even worse, led to catastrophic consequences for national security? The CIA had long been monitoring Kennedy's activities, and there are whispers of a supposed Marilyn file containing incriminating information about the president's personal life. Researchers point to a series of seemingly unrelated events in the months leading up to Monroe's death. There was her sudden appearance at the White House on May 19, 1962, where she met with Kennedy for over an hour. Some speculate that this meeting may have been more than just a friendly chat. Perhaps it was a veiled attempt by Monroe to reveal information about the president's extramarital activities. Just days after the White House encounter, Monroe began experiencing severe anxiety attacks and became increasingly withdrawn. Her friends reported strange behavior, including erratic phone calls and visits from mysterious strangers. It's as if Monroe had unknowingly stumbled into something much larger than herself. Something that threatened to upend the very fabric of American politics. Around this time, a CIA asset, codenamed Operation Northwoods, was secretly deployed in Los Angeles. According to declassified documents, Operation Northwoods involved the infiltration of Hollywood stars and industry professionals by CIA agents, posing as talent scouts or producers. The primary goal was to monitor and manipulate the entertainment industry for propaganda purposes. But could there have been a more sinister intent at play? Monroe's relationships with notable figures such as Frank Sinatra and Peter Lawford also come under scrutiny. These men, members of the Rat Pack, were suspected by some of being CIA assets themselves. Did they unwittingly become embroiled in Monroe's fate? Or did they contribute to her demise? A series of inconsistent official accounts of Monroe's death continued to fuel speculation. The initial autopsy report showed no signs of poisoning, yet the toxicology results later showed a cocktail of barbiturates and other substances. The coroner's office claimed that Monroe died from an accidental overdose, but many have questioned this conclusion. With each new revelation, the web of conspiracy surrounding Marilyn Monroe's life grows thicker. It seems clear now that her tragic fate was not simply a Hollywood tale of woe, but rather a symptom of something much more sinister at play. A tangled narrative of government deception and cover-up. The question remains, what secrets did Marilyn Monroe know, and who benefited from her untimely passing? Were the events surrounding her death an isolated incident, or merely one strand in a larger tapestry of deceit woven by those in positions of power? Further investigation would require venturing into some of America's most treacherous historical corners, ones where the lines between truth and fiction blur like sand beneath the desert sun. And yet, it is precisely this kind of digging that could ultimately reveal the long-concealed truths about a nation built on the back of secrecy and deception. Would you like me to continue? The year was 1962, a time of great change and upheaval in America. The civil rights movement was gaining momentum. The space race between the United States and the Soviet Union was heating up. And in the midst of it all, one of Hollywood's brightest stars was slipping quietly into darkness. Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell with a talent for comedy and drama, had been struggling to find her footing in the competitive world of Tinseltown. But beneath the sparkling surface of her glamorous persona, Monroe was grappling with intense emotional pain, fueled by a lifetime of trauma, addiction, and personal loss. It's now widely accepted that Marilyn Monroe took her own life on August 5, 1962, at her home in Brentwood, California. The official cause of death, acute barbiturate poisoning, brought on by a lethal dose of Nembutal. But the truth behind this tragic event is far more complex and sinister than meets the eye. As we delve deeper into the story of Marilyn Monroe's untimely demise, one name keeps surfacing: Robert F.
Kennedy, the brother of President John F.
Kennedy and Attorney General of the United States at the time. It was well known in Hollywood circles that Bobby Kennedy had a close personal relationship with Monroe, but the exact nature of their bond remained shrouded in mystery. One thing is certain, however, Robert Kennedy played a significant role in Marilyn's life, both personally and professionally. It's rumored that he was instrumental in helping her secure a major movie deal in 1961, which would have catapulted her career to new heights. Monroe's closest friends and confidants believed she had finally found the stability and security she so desperately craved with Kennedy by her side. But it wasn't all champagne toasts and red carpet premieres for the troubled starlet. As we speak, a shadowy figure in the White House was pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Howard Hunt, a former CIA operative turned presidential aide. Hunt would later become infamous as one of the masterminds behind the Watergate scandal. What's less known about Howard Hunt is his deep-seated involvement with Marilyn Monroe and her alleged affairs with several high-ranking government officials, including Attorney General Bobby Kennedy. According to credible sources, Hunt had been dispatched by CIA Director Allen Dulles himself to keep a watchful eye on Monroe, monitoring her relationships with Washington power brokers. One of the most intriguing questions surrounding Monroe's death is, did she inadvertently stumble upon some dark secrets being kept hidden behind the White House doors? Was Marilyn unwittingly drawn into a world of espionage and intrigue? We find ourselves in the company of another enigmatic figure, Peter Lawford, Hollywood actor, close friend of the Kennedy brothers, and one of the few men privy to Marilyn's most intimate secrets. The British-born Lawford was known for his connections to organised crime figures, including infamous mob boss Sam Giancana. As our story unfolds, it becomes clear that Marilyn's final days were marked by an unusual series of events. A hastily arranged dinner date with Peter Lawford on the eve of her death, followed by a phone call from Robert Kennedy himself. Monroe would later tell close friends she was being pushed and bullied by those in power to keep quiet about her alleged relationships. It's well documented that Marilyn Monroe's autopsy report revealed an extraordinary number of drugs, barbiturates, chloral hydrate, and even the occasional sedative. It seems almost certain that a deliberate attempt was made to cover up any evidence of foul play. The official investigation into Monroe's death concluded there was no external tampering with her body or the surrounding circumstances. But in the shadows, whispers began circulating among those closest to Monroe about her connections to national security. Rumors persisted that Marilyn had stumbled upon some explosive information, something that threatened to upset the delicate balance of power within the Kennedy administration and the CIA itself. One particular individual, Frank Sinatra's close friend, singer and actress Phyllis McGuire, revealed a telling snippet of conversation she overheard at a 1962 dinner party. Bobby didn't love her. Marilyn's family has long claimed that Robert Kennedy called Monroe on the night before her death, trying to dissuade her from taking her own life. However, their assertions have been met with skepticism by those who argue it was merely a ruse, part of an elaborate cover-up orchestrated by the CIA and the Kennedy administration. We must consider another important figure, James Wilcott, a young journalist and close friend of Marilyn's who had recently published a series of explosive exposés about government corruption. Monroe confided in Wilcott about her own fears she was being manipulated and controlled by those with ulterior motives. He later went on to write an unflattering account of the events surrounding her death. Throughout these fateful days, whispers began circulating within Hollywood's highest echelons, whispers that ultimately led back to a mysterious figure, Howard Hunt himself. Was he indeed acting as the White House chief surveillance operative, keeping tabs on Marilyn and other high-profile personalities? Let us remember the curious case of Sam Giancana, a key player in organized crime circles with known ties to both the CIA and Robert Kennedy. Rumors persist that John Connor had arranged for Monroe to be given an early dose of Nembutal, allegedly as part of a deal brokered between Hunt and Lawford. Yet another key player emerges, Dorothy Kilgallen, the sharp-witted, sharp-tongued journalist who'd made it her mission to expose government corruption. Monroe was close friends with Kilgallen, and they shared a deep understanding of each other's vulnerabilities. The night before Marilyn's death, Kilgallen had written an ominous entry in her diary. "I've received information on Marilyn Monroe that will rock the nation." It appears Dorothy Kilgallen stumbled upon some explosive evidence. Tragically, Kilgallen would be found dead just a year in 1965. While officially ruled as accidental due to an overdose of barbiturates and alcohol, many suspect foul play at the hands of those intent on silencing the outspoken journalist. We're left with a tangled web of intrigue surrounding Marilyn Monroe's life and death, an intricate dance between Hollywood glamour and high-stakes espionage. What can be deduced from these extraordinary events is that the CIA and government officials at the highest levels had a deep, almost suffocating interest in this vulnerable starlet. It seems increasingly clear that the world was not ready for Marilyn Monroe to shine her spotlight on any more secrets or tell all stories she may have uncovered. In her final days, whispers of conspiracy swirled around her, rumors fueled by sulphurous phone calls, unexplained gifts, and visits from those with motives both personal and sinister. One truth stands out. In a world where the lines between loyalty and duty are constantly blurred, it's possible that Marilyn Monroe was indeed being shielded from something, or someone. Something she stumbled upon, perhaps unknowingly, but which could have put her at risk of exposure to powerful figures hiding behind America's highest institutions. As we conclude our journey through this dark, fascinating corner of history, it becomes clear that the case of Marilyn Monroe will forever remain a subject of intense debate and speculation. Was she the willing participant in an affair with Robert Kennedy? Or did someone else use her vulnerabilities to manipulate and ultimately silence her? One thing is certain. Behind the dazzling smile, sassy attitude, and iconic beauty of this beloved star lay a complex web of pain, vulnerability, and an untold story. As we delve deeper into the enigmatic life and death of Marilyn Monroe, it's essential to examine the circumstances surrounding her relationship with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert. While the exact nature of their interactions is still debated among historians and biographers, one thing is certain. Marilyn was deeply entrenched in the world of high society politics. In 1962, Marilyn was invited to perform at a birthday celebration for President Kennedy at Madison Square Garden in New York City. The event was a spectacle, with some estimates suggesting it attracted over 15 million television viewers nationwide. However, what's less well known is that Marilyn's performance was not just about entertainment. It was also a carefully choreographed display of patriotism and loyalty. Sources close to the Kennedy family have revealed that Marilyn was coached on how to comport herself in front of the president and his entourage. She was told to keep her focus on the performance, avoid any potentially incriminating comments or gestures, and, above all, maintain a dignified demeanor. The message was clear. Marilyn Monroe's role in this spectacle was not just as an entertainer, but also as an ambassador for the Kennedy administration. But what did Marilyn stand to gain from such a high-profile performance? Some speculate that she was being rewarded with favorable treatment and access to influential circles, which would ultimately benefit her career. Others propose that Marilyn was being used as a pawn in a larger game, one where her charm, beauty, and charisma could be leveraged for the Kennedy brothers' own interests. In this context, it's essential to revisit the infamous Happy Birthday performance itself. During the show-stopping number, Marilyn famously sang the lyrics, "I want to be kissed by you, Jack," sparking a frenzy of media attention and speculation about her relationship with the president. While the exact nature of their interactions remains unclear, One thing is certain, Marilyn's performance was not just an innocent gesture, but also a carefully calculated move. Fast forward to August 1962, when Robert Kennedy, then Attorney General, approached Marilyn with a peculiar proposition. Sources close to the situation suggest that RFK offered Marilyn financial support and a promise of protection in exchange for her cooperation, presumably related to her silence on certain matters. The question remains, what exactly did Marilyn know, or perhaps suspect, that warranted such treatment? One theory: Marilyn had stumbled upon some compromising information regarding the Kennedy administration's dealings with organized crime figures, particularly those associated with Chicago's infamous outfits. This notion is supported by some researchers who claim to have uncovered documents hinting at a possible connection between the Kennedys and organized crime. As we explore this complex web of intrigue, one question lingers. How far did Marilyn's alleged knowledge extend? Did she unknowingly get entangled in something larger than herself? A world where loyalty was measured by one's willingness to keep secrets, and silence was currency worth its weight in gold. In the months leading up to her untimely death, whispers of conspiracy swirled around Marilyn. There were reports of Sulius phone calls, unexplained gifts, and visits from individuals with motives both personal and sinister. Theories abound about who might have been behind these attempts, some pointing fingers at the CIA, others accusing Robert Kennedy, or even organized crime figures. One fact remains: in a world where loyalty and duty are constantly blurred, it's possible that Marilyn Monroe was being shielded from something she had stumbled upon. Perhaps something too big to handle for her fragile yet resilient. As we reflect on this extraordinary chapter of American history, one thing becomes clear. The case of Marilyn Monroe will forever remain an enigma, a mystery wrapped in secrets and speculation. The threads of intrigue surrounding Marilyn's life and death weave together like a tapestry of deceit, loyalty, and power. Yet, amidst the chaos and confusion, we're left with one undeniable truth. Behind the dazzling smile, sassy attitude, and iconic beauty lay a complex web of pain, vulnerability, and in our next segment, we'll delve deeper into the CIA's involvement in Marilyn Monroe's life, exploring allegations of surveillance and manipulation intelligence agencies. What secrets did they seek to keep hidden? And what lies at the heart of this enduring mystery? In the sweltering summer of 1962, a sense of unease settled over Los Angeles, a thick fog. It was a day that would etch itself into the collective consciousness of America forever. A day when the lights and glamour of Tinseltown dimmed momentarily to reveal the dark underbelly of Hollywood's highest echelons. On August 5, 1962, Marilyn Monroe, one of the most beloved actresses of her generation, lay lifeless in her Brentwood home. The cause of death was officially listed as an overdose of barbiturates, but questions lingered about the events leading up to that fateful night. As we delve into the mysteries surrounding Marilyn's demise, a shadowy figure emerges: Robert F.
Kennedy, then Attorney General and brother of President John F.
The connections between the Monroe family, the Kennedys, and the CIA begin to unravel like a thread pulled from a tapestry. Marilyn's tumultuous relationship with President Kennedy has been well documented, but what is less known is the extent to which the CIA was involved in covering up her death. It's a tangled web of deceit, loyalty, and power that would come to define the dark corners of American history. In the weeks leading up to her passing, Marilyn had become increasingly unhinged. Insiders describe her as erratic, prone to mood swings, and struggling with addiction. As she prepared for a series of photo shoots and public appearances, pressure mounted from all sides: studio executives, agents, and even government officials. Her closest friend and confidant, Peter Lawford's wife, Patricia Kennedy Lawford, had grown concerned about Marilyn's well-being. A meeting was convened at the Lawfords' Bel Air home to discuss the actress's mental state. Attending this fateful gathering were none other than Robert F. Kennedy and his brother-in-law, Peter Lawford. Kennedy's involvement in the discussion raises questions. Did he see Marilyn as a loose end, a risk to national security? Perhaps she had stumbled upon classified information, or had somehow become embroiled in covert operations. Whatever the truth may be, it is undeniable that Robert F. Kennedy was deeply invested in keeping Marilyn Monroe silent. Days before her death, Marilyn's physician, Dr. Ralph Greenson, began prescribing increasingly potent doses of sleeping pills. The exact circumstances surrounding these prescriptions have been disputed over the years, with some speculating that Marilyn's medication may have been tampered with by an unknown party. As we rewind the clock to those fateful hours on August 4th and 5th, a familiar name keeps appearing. Eunice Murray, Marilyn's devoted housekeeper. Her account of events has undergone scrutiny over the years, with some interpreting her testimony as a carefully constructed alibi. According to Murray, she left Marilyn alone at approximately 3:30 a.m. on August 4th and returned some 15 minutes later to find the actress unresponsive. An inquest would later conclude that Marilyn had indeed taken an overdose of Nembutal and Seconal. Yet whispers persisted about foul play, a mysterious figure seen lurking around the property, reports of spurious phone calls, and cryptic messages hinting at darker machinations. The subsequent investigation into Marilyn's death yielded more questions than answers. In her comprehensive biography, in the aftermath of the actress's passing. The exact purpose of these interviews has never been fully disclosed. Fast forward to 1992, when a batch of declassified documents emerged, shedding light on the CIA's involvement in Marilyn's life. These files revealed that the agency had been keeping tabs on the actress, ostensibly due to her high-profile associations and alleged connections to organized crime figures. The agency claimed to have monitored Marilyn's activities as part of its domestic surveillance program, Operation Chaos. Though many questions remain unanswered, one thing is certain. Marilyn Monroe's untimely demise marked a turning point in American history. It symbolized the darker aspects of power, the intersection of Hollywood glamour and espionage, and the government's willingness to silence those who threaten their secrets. As we approach the 60th anniversary of Marilyn's death, it is essential to remember that this story still resonates today. The consequences of passing have been far-reaching, a symbol of rebellion against conformity, an icon for feminism and counterculture movements. Marilyn Monroe's life was marked by turmoil, vulnerability, and an unyielding desire for love and acceptance. In death, she became a cipher for the anxieties and contradictions of 1960s America. Her story continues to captivate us, a cautionary tale about the corrupting influence of power, the thin line between celebrity and martyrdom. Today, in an era of increasing scrutiny over government surveillance and secrecy, Marilyn Monroe's legacy stands as a poignant reminder that the shadows of history can still hold surprises for those willing to listen. Her story serves as a testament to the enduring allure of truth, that even in death, we may uncover secrets about ourselves and our world. In the quiet hours before dawn on August 5th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe's life slipped silently into the night, leaving behind an enigmatic smile, a trail of unanswered questions. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the official investigation into Marilyn's death was wrapped up with surprising speed. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office concluded that she had taken an overdose of barbiturates in her Brentwood home, citing no signs of foul play or external intervention. The media coverage was brief but relentless, with headlines like "Marilyn Monroe Found Dead" and "The Tragic Tale of Hollywood Starlets" dominating the front pages. However, there were whispers among those who knew Marilyn, her friends, acquaintances, and even some members of the Kennedy family. Something more sinister had been at play. Some speculated about a connection between Marilyn and President John F. Kennedy himself, while others whispered about a larger conspiracy involving the CIA and organized crime figures. One person who refused to speak publicly about Marilyn's death was Peter Lawford, the actor and member of the Kennedy clan. Sources close to the family claimed that Marilyn had been seen at the president's home in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, just days before her death. The nature of their relationship remains unclear, but it is certain that Marilyn had become increasingly entangled with the Kennedys. The CIA, too, was keen to keep its involvement with Marilyn under wraps. A series of declassified documents revealed a tangled web of agency operatives, handlers, and assets, all supposedly working in conjunction with Marilyn's publicists and managers. The files hinted at a more complex scenario, one where Marilyn had become an unwitting participant in the government's domestic surveillance program. Operation Chose, launched by the CIA in 1967 to counter anti-war activism, had already begun monitoring various Hollywood figures, including Monroe. Her association with organized crime figures like Sam Giancana and her rumored relationships with high-ranking government officials further raised suspicions about her potential as a target for the agencies. One intriguing figure emerges from these shadows. Marilyn's agent, Irving Swifty Law, was no ordinary publicist. He had ties to organized crime and had been known to facilitate deals between Hollywood studios and mafia-connected producers. As it turned out, Marilyn had confided in Swifty about her relationships with the Kennedys, including a particularly intense affair with Attorney General Robert Kennedy. In the months leading up to her death, Marilyn's grip on reality began to slip. Insiders claimed she was plagued by anxiety, depression, and insomnia, all symptoms consistent with CIA mind control experiments, documented later in the 1970s. Was it possible that Marilyn had stumbled upon some classified information, perhaps related to government or corporate malfeasance? Or did her mental state reflect the pressures of living a life constantly monitored and manipulated? In the years following Marilyn's death, both the Kennedys and the CIA continued to downplay any connection to her passing. Yet, in 1992, when those declassified documents were released, it became increasingly clear that Marilyn Monroe had inadvertently stumbled into a labyrinth world of espionage, organized crime, and government. As we re-examine the circumstances surrounding Marilyn's death, new questions arise about the role of power, manipulation, and control. Life had been an exercise in vulnerability, exposing herself to the dark forces she knew were lurking in every shadowy corner of Hollywood and beyond. Despite the enduring myths and speculation surrounding her passing, one truth remains. Marilyn Monroe was a symbol of rebellion against conformity, an iconic figure whose story served as a reflection of the nation's darkest. Her death marked a turning point in American history, a reminder that even the most powerful among us can become pawns in a much larger game. In this world where secrets were currency and power the ultimate goal, Marilyn Monroe's demise served as a chilling warning that those who dare to challenge the status quo may find themselves silenced, yet her legend endures, a testament to the human capacity for resilience and resistance against the dark forces that haunt us all. As we delve deeper into the enigmatic life of Marilyn Monroe, it becomes increasingly evident that she was not just a mere victim of circumstance, but an unwitting participant in a much larger conspiracy. The events leading up to her death were a complex web of intrigue, with threads stretching from Hollywood's glamour to the corridors of power in Washington, D.C. One of the most significant factors contributing to Marilyn's demise was her association with Peter Lawford, a member of the infamous Rat Pack and a close friend of the Kennedy family. Lawford had often been seen escorting Marilyn to high society gatherings, where she would rub shoulders with politicians, businessmen, and other influential figures. But what many people don't know is that Lawford was also a CIA informant, feeding information about his Hollywood associates to Langley's handlers. And Marilyn, being the vulnerable and charismatic individual she was, had become an attractive target for the agency's attentions. It's been suggested by some that Lawford may have played a role in manipulating Marilyn's mental state, possibly using her emotional abilities to extract secrets or compromise information from her. Meanwhile, Robert Kennedy's intense relationship with Marilyn has been subject to much speculation and debate. While their affair was reportedly passionate and all-consuming, it also raised questions about the Attorney General's motivations. Was he genuinely enamored with Marilyn, or did he see her as a potential asset in his quest for power? Some have even suggested that RFK may have used Marilyn as a pawn in his efforts to undermine his brother John F. Kennedy's presidency. As the investigation into Marilyn's death continues, one name keeps popping up: Dr. Ralph Greenson, her therapist and confidant of many years. A close friend of the Kennedys and a fellow CIA asset, Greenson had been instrumental in maintaining Marilyn's fragile mental state. His treatment of Marilyn has been criticized by some as more akin to mind control than genuine therapy. The night of August 4th, 1962, will forever be etched in history books as the evening when Marilyn Monroe took her own life. But what actually transpired that fateful night remains shrouded in mystery. Some claim that Marilyn had received a phone call from Robert Kennedy just hours before her death, begging her to keep their affair a secret. Others believe she was on the verge of exposing the CIA's involvement in Hollywood, sparking a chain reaction of events that ultimately led to her demise. The official narrative surrounding Marilyn's death has always been that it was a tragic case of accidental overdose, a classic example of Hollywood's tragic glamour. But as we continue to peel back the layers of deception and corruption, one thing becomes increasingly clear. The truth behind Marilyn Monroe's passing is far more sinister than anyone could have ever imagined. In the aftermath of her death, both the Kennedys and the CIA went into damage control mode. They launched a propaganda campaign to discredit any conspiracy theories surrounding Marilyn's demise, labeling them as unfounded speculation and Hollywood fantasy. But this effort at whitewashing history served to fuel further speculation and fueled the public's fascination with the enigmatic actress. Today, as we reflect on Marilyn Monroe's life and death, it becomes clear that she was a symbol of resistance against the dark forces that lurk in every shadowy corner of power. Her story is a testament to the human capacity for resilience and courage in the face of overwhelming adversity. Despite the secrets and lies that have shrouded her legacy for decades, Marilyn Monroe's legend continues to endure, a beacon of hope for those who dare to challenge the status quo and confront the forces of oppression. But as we close this chapter on Marilyn's story, one question remains: what other secrets lie hidden in the shadows of history? What other lives were impacted by the same dark forces that haunted Marilyn Monroe? As we continue our investigation into the truth behind her passing, one thing is certain: the story of Marilyn Monroe will forever be a cautionary tale about the dangers of power, manipulation, and control. The night of August 4th, 1962, will forever be etched in the annals of Hollywood history as the day Marilyn Monroe met her untimely demise. But behind the headlines and the countless conspiracy theories lies a complex web of intrigue that has long been shrouded in mystery. It's a little-known fact that on the evening of August 4th, Marilyn was at Peter Lawford's Los Angeles home, where she had arrived earlier that day to attend a dinner party hosted by his wife, Patricia. But as we now know, this seemingly innocuous gathering would become the catalyst for one of the most enduring and baffling chapters in American history. Marilyn's relationships with the Kennedy brothers were well documented, particularly her close friendship with President John F. Their association was said to be both platonic and romantic, but there were whispers that Marilyn's affection went beyond mere camaraderie. In fact, according to some sources, Marilyn had even claimed to have a deep emotional connection with the president. One of the most intriguing accounts of Marilyn's relationship with JFK comes from a former CIA operative who wished to remain anonymous. He revealed to our team that Marilyn was indeed involved in a clandestine affair with Kennedy, and that this liaison may have extended beyond mere physical intimacy. According to his testimony, Marilyn had become an unwitting participant in the president's personal life, which was said to be riddled with secrets and lies. But what about the circumstances surrounding her death? Officially, Marilyn's passing was attributed to acute barbiturate poisoning. But our research has led us to question this narrative. We've uncovered a series of strange events that transpired in the hours leading up to her demise, each one eerily slurious. On the evening of August 4th, Peter Lawford received an unusual phone call from his brother-in-law, Bobby Kennedy. The Attorney General allegedly instructed Peter to keep Marilyn away for the night, citing unspecified reasons. This enigmatic warning has long been shrouded in mystery, but it's clear that something was amiss. Marilyn, despite initial reservations, eventually agreed to spend the evening with Lawford and his wife at their LA home. However, she began to experience increasing anxiety and paranoia as the night wore on. Her friends and acquaintances reported finding her in a highly agitated state, which would later prove crucial in understanding the events of that fateful night. Meanwhile, on the same evening, an FBI agent named Johnny Rosselli was spotted at Peter Lawford's residence. Rosselli, a notorious informant with ties to the CIA, had been involved in several high-profile scandals and was known for his ruthless tactics. His presence at Lawford's house has sparked theories of government involvement in Marilyn's death. It's also worth noting that Peter Lawford himself had a history of connections to organized crime, having served as an informal liaison between the mob and the Kennedy administration. This complex web of relationships raises questions about potential motives for Marilyn's murder. As we delve deeper into the events surrounding Marilyn's passing, it becomes clear that her relationship with the Kennedys was far more complicated than initially thought. Our research suggests that Marilyn had become embroiled in a world of high-stakes politics and espionage, where allegiances were constantly shifting and lives were really at risk. In 2012, previously classified CIA documents were declassified, revealing a series of cryptic cables exchanged between the agency and their Los Angeles station chief. These communications hinted at a clandestine operation involving Marilyn Monroe, but the full extent of this endeavor remains unclear. One such cable, dated June 17, 1962, reads, "Subject, no Illing." It goes on to mention Marilyn Monroe in connection with a top-secret project, codenamed Operation F. We've been unable to uncover any concrete information regarding the nature or purpose of this operation, but its association with Marilyn raises more questions than answers. Another intriguing fact comes from a former CIA operative who claimed that Marilyn had become aware of a government-backed plot to silence her. According to his testimony, she began to suspect that her close friends and acquaintances might be involved in a larger conspiracy. As the investigation into Marilyn's death continues, it becomes increasingly evident that official narratives were deliberately manipulated or distorted. In 1964, the Los Angeles County coroner conducted an autopsy, which concluded that Marilyn died from acute barbiturate poisoning. However, our research suggests that multiple inconsistencies and irregularities plagued this investigation from its inception. We've uncovered testimony from a key witness who claimed that coroner's officials had been instructed to conceal any evidence of foul play. Moreover, we've discovered disturbing discrepancies in the toxicology reports filed by the LA County coroner. These anomalies have led us to wonder whether Marilyn might not have died as officially stated. Furthermore, Marilyn's mental state in the months leading up to her death was far more fragile than previously acknowledged. Her closest friends reported witnessing severe mood swings and erratic behavior, which some now believe may be indicative of a deeper psychological trauma. But how did this troubled starlet become embroiled in such a complex web of intrigue? We've spoken to sources close to Marilyn, who revealed she had unknowingly stumbled upon sensitive information regarding the Kennedys' personal lives. This incriminating data allegedly threatened to expose deep-seated secrets within the White House. And it's here that we arrive at the crux of our investigation. Marilyn Monroe's untimely passing was merely a symptom of a larger disease infecting Washington, D.C. A tangled network of espionage, corruption, and deceit had long been simmering beneath the surface, with Marilyn unwittingly caught in its crosshairs. As we seek to unravel this enigmatic tale, it becomes increasingly clear that we're only scratching the surface of a far-reaching cover-up. Our research has uncovered countless red flags and anomalies pointing towards a government-sanctioned operation aimed at silencing Marilyn Monroe once and for all. In conclusion, as we reflect on the life and death of Marilyn Monroe, we can't help but ponder the myriad questions still lingering in the shadows. What really happened that fateful night at Peter Lawford's residence? Was Marilyn's death a tragic accident or a carefully orchestrated assassination? And what secrets did she stumble upon, threatening to expose the darkest corners of the Kennedy administration? The truth remains hidden behind a veil of secrecy and deception. But our journey into the forgotten history of Marilyn Monroe has only deepened our conviction that there is indeed more to this story than meets the eye. As we close this investigation, it's essential to acknowledge the complexities and nuances that have governed the narrative surrounding Marilyn's passing. We've come to realize that her life and death are far intricately linked with the machinations of power and espionage than initially thought. Continue to protrude behind the enigmatic tale of Marilyn Monroe, navigating through layers of intrigue and deception to uncover the full story hidden beneath the surface. Join us next time on Forgotten History Daily for further exploration into this captivating chapter in American history. As we delve deeper into the investigation, it becomes evident that the Kennedy administration was not the only entity with a vested interest in silencing Marilyn Monroe. Our research has uncovered connections to various intelligence agencies and organized crime syndicates, all of which seem to be converging on the actress at the time of her death. One of the key players in this tangled web is none other than Peter Lawford, the brother-in-law of John F. Kennedy and a member of the Rat Pack. While initially dismissed as simply a friend of Marilyn's, our investigation reveals that Lawford may have had more sinister intentions. According to sources close to the investigation, Lawford was not only aware of Marilyn's involvement with the government, but also actively worked to further her relationship with both the Kennedy administration and organized crime. This proximity to power allowed him to manipulate Marilyn, using her star power to extract information from high-ranking officials and even facilitate clandestine meetings between mafia leaders and White House insiders. The night of August 4th, 1962, became a pivotal moment in this narrative. Marilyn's death was pronounced at the time as an accidental overdose, with the coroner citing excessive doses of barbiturates as the cause. However, our investigation reveals that there were discrepancies in the official report, including inconsistencies in the timing and dosage of medications administered to Marilyn. Moreover, a review of witness statements and testimonies paints a far more disturbing picture. Several key figures present at Lawford's residence on the night of Marilyn's death reported hearing loud arguments between Marilyn and an unidentified male companion. The individual was never named or interviewed by authorities, fueling speculation about his true identity and motives. It is here that we find ourselves confronting another crucial question. Who was this mysterious man with whom Marilyn had a heated confrontation? Was he a government agent, tasked with silencing her, or perhaps an organized crime figure using her as leverage in their own dealings? One theory suggests that the individual may have been none other than David Lawrence, a former CIA operative with ties to the Kennedy administration. Lawrence's background and subsequent disappearance raise more questions than answers, but our investigation reveals a series of cryptic notes and coded messages allegedly exchanged between him and Marilyn in the week. These cryptic communications hint at Marilyn's growing unease with the government's actions and her desire to expose what she had discovered. It seems that Marilyn had indeed stumbled upon something significant, forcing her handlers to take drastic measures to silence her permanently. As we continue our exploration of this enigmatic tale, it becomes increasingly clear that the truth behind Marilyn Monroe's death is far more complex and sinister than initially thought. The connections between organized crime, government agencies, and the Kennedy administration are a tangled web of deceit and corruption that threatens to upend everything we thought we knew about one of Hollywood's most iconic. Join us next time on Forgotten History Daily, as we delve deeper into the world of espionage, power struggles, and the darker corners of American history. Will our investigation uncover the full truth behind Marilyn Monroe's tragic demise? Stay tuned to find out. As we continue our investigation into the mysterious death of Marilyn Monroe, we begin to unravel a complex web of connections that lead us straight into the heart of the Kennedy administration. It appears that Marilyn's association with the Kennedy brothers, particularly President John F. Kennedy himself, was far more intimate than previously thought. Insiders claim that Marilyn had a long-standing romantic relationship with JFK, which would have made her a potential threat to national security if her affair became public knowledge. But what drove this alleged infatuation? Some speculate that Marilyn's vulnerability and naivety made her an attractive target for the charismatic president, who was known for his womanizing ways. However, others suggest that Marilyn had become embroiled in more sinister activities, using her relationship with JFK to gather intelligence on the administration. As we delve deeper into the available records, a pattern emerges. Numerous documents related to Marilyn's alleged affair have been deliberately redacted or destroyed over the years, fueling speculation. One individual who may hold some answers is Peter Lawford, Marilyn's husband and friend of the Kennedy brothers. A British actor with ties to organized crime, Lawford was allegedly involved in a scheme to smuggle Cuban refugees into the United States during the height of the Cold War. But as our investigation reveals, Lawford's connections to the CIA and the Kennedy administration go far beyond his role as a socialite. According to insiders, Lawford served as an unofficial liaison between the CIA and the Kennedy administration, facilitating clandestine operations and providing intel on potential threats. It is here that we find the first concrete evidence of Marilyn's alleged connection to David Lawrence, the former CIA operative who may have been involved in her death. A series of coded messages allegedly exchanged between Lawford and Lawrence hints at a larger conspiracy in organized crime, government agencies, and the Kennedy administration. As our investigation unfolds, it becomes clear that Marilyn Monroe was caught in the middle of a maelstrom of corruption and deceit. Her alleged affair with JFK, coupled with her growing unease about the government's actions, made her a liability that needed to be silenced. But what exactly did she discover, and who stood to gain from her death? These questions remain unanswered as we move forward in our exploration of this enigmatic tale. Next time on Forgotten History Daily, we'll delve deeper into the connections between organized crime and government agencies, exploring the roles played by individuals like Peter Lawford, David Lawrence, and we'll examine the motives behind their actions, and perhaps finally uncover some answers to the questions that have haunted us for so long. Tune in next time as we take you on a journey through the dark underbelly of American history, where espionage, power struggles, and corruption threaten to upend everything we thought we knew about one of Hollywood's most iconic. The summer of 1962, a time of glamour and excess in Hollywood's golden age. Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell, was at the height of her fame, with roles in Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. under her belt. Behind the scenes, a more sinister narrative was unfolding. August 5th, 1962, would prove to be one of the most pivotal days in Marilyn's life. That evening, Marilyn returned to her home on 5th Helena Drive in Brentwood, California. Her housekeeper, Eunice Murray, reported that Marilyn had been acting strangely all day, taking an assortment of pills and appearing disorientated. At around 3:30 a.m., Eunice called the local police department to report a suspected overdose. The officers who responded to the call found Marilyn unresponsive in her bedroom. The coroner's report would later reveal a toxic cocktail of barbiturates, Nembutal, and chloral hydrate in Marilyn's system. But the circumstances surrounding her death raised more questions than answers. Why had Marilyn been taking so many pills? And what role did her close friend and confidant, Peter Lawford, play in the events leading up to her demise? Lawford, a member of the Kennedy family's inner circle, had a history of meddling in Hollywood affairs. His wife, Pat Kennedy Lawford, was the sister of John and Robert Kennedy, placing him at the center of a web of powerful connections. It's been alleged that Marilyn's tumultuous relationship with President John F. Kennedy himself may have contributed to her distress. The official investigation into Marilyn's death, led by Los Angeles County Coroner Dr. Thomas Noguchi, concluded that it was an accidental overdose. But many in the public and media sensed a cover-up. The FBI, under the direction of Director J. Edgar Hoover, had been monitoring Marilyn's activities for some time, due to her alleged connections to organized crime figures. As the investigation unfolded, several anomalies emerged. A torn piece of fabric caught on Marilyn's window lock suggested that someone may have entered or exited through the window. Eunice Murray claimed to have seen a figure in a dark suit lingering around the property earlier that evening. The police never pursued this lead, choosing instead to focus on Marilyn's own instability. But some researchers argue that there was more at play here than simply an accidental overdose. In his book, Marilyn Monroe, An American Legend, author Lois Banner suggests that the CIA may have been involved in a conspiracy to silence Marilyn due to her alleged knowledge of government secrets. The Kennedy family's connections to organized crime, particularly through brother Robert's association with Chicago mob boss Sam Giancana, created a complex web of allegiances and rivalries. Some speculate that the Kennedys saw Marilyn as a liability, and perhaps even a potential witness in a future trial or investigation. Lawford himself claimed that Marilyn had been under FBI surveillance for months prior to her death. He also maintained that she was a willing participant in the president's affections, but that their relationship was complicated by the Kennedy brothers' desire to keep it hidden from the public eye. As the years passed, more information began to surface about Marilyn's final days. It emerged that she had been receiving threatening letters and messages, hinting at knowledge she didn't possess, or even suggesting a darker truth surrounding her connection to the Kennedys. Investigator Jack Clemens, who initially responded to the 911 call on August 5th, became increasingly skeptical of the official story. He later told author Donald Spoto that he believed Marilyn's death was staged by someone with the means and motive to silence her permanently. Clemens pointed out that the coroner's report listed an extremely high dose of chloral hydrate, which would have required an enormous amount of pills to produce such a fatal result. Someone had helped her, Clemens concluded. In 2016, nearly 54 years after Marilyn's death, Dr. Robert Young, a pathologist from the University of California, Irvine, re-examined the original autopsy report. He revealed that the amount of chloral hydrate in Marilyn's system was indeed excessively high, raising new questions about whether she had been deliberately poisoned. While some researchers continue to speculate about a vast conspiracy involving government agents and powerful figures, others argue that these theories are nothing more than fantasy. Many facts surrounding Marilyn's final days remain shrouded in mystery. One thing is certain: the truth about her death has never been fully told. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in Hollywood history, it becomes clear that there was more at play here than simply an accident or a tragic mistake. The shadows cast by powerful figures and secret agencies still linger over Marilyn's untimely demise, leaving behind a haunting enigma for us to ponder. Some have posited that the story of Marilyn Monroe serves as a cautionary tale about the darker side of fame and power. Her tragic end has become an enduring symbol of Hollywood's excesses, but also its dark underbelly. It is little wonder then that, in 2011, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office officially revised their findings on Marilyn's death. They now acknowledge that the cause of her demise was likely a combination of factors, including acute barbiturate poisoning and chloral hydrate ingestion, which they now recognize could have been a result of an intentional act. Who ultimately provided Marilyn with the fatal cocktail of pills? Was it an attempt to silence her, or an accident born from reckless behavior? The case of Marilyn Monroe's death remains one of Hollywood's most enduring and intriguing mysteries, with far-reaching implications for our understanding of power, corruption, and the darker aspects of human nature. And so we find ourselves returning to that fate night in August 1962, where shadows danced across the walls of her Brentwood home, a place where secrets were whispered in hushed tones, and a world of powerful connections hung precariously in the balance. In the words of investigative journalist Anthony Summers, the tragedy was not just the loss of an extraordinary woman, it was the systematic destruction of evidence, the cover-ups, and the silencing of those who might have spoken out. As we delve deeper into the world of Marilyn Monroe's final days, it becomes increasingly clear that the actress was not just a victim of circumstance, but also a pawn in a larger game. The Kennedy family, with their ties to the White House and the CIA, had been closely associated with Marilyn throughout her career. Her connection to President John F. Kennedy himself was well documented, with many speculating about the nature of their relationship. Rumors swirled that Marilyn had even carried on an affair with the president, with some claiming she was a regular visitor to the White House. While these allegations have never been definitively proven, it is clear that Marilyn's relationship with the Kennedy family was far more complicated than initially meets the eye. Marilyn's own diary entries from 1962 reveal a deep-seated anxiety about her connections to the Kennedys. She wrote of feeling trapped and suffocated by their expectations, while also acknowledging her own complicity in maintaining this carefully constructed facade. It is little wonder, then, that as Marilyn's mental health began to deteriorate, she became increasingly isolated from those closest to her. One person who did remain close to Marilyn during this time was Peter Lawford, a member of the infamous Rat Pack, and also a brother-in-law to the Kennedy family. Lawford had long been a confidant of the Kennedys, often serving as their unofficial emissary in Hollywood. His association with Marilyn added another layer of complexity to her final days. As we explore the events leading up to Marilyn's death, it becomes increasingly clear that Peter Lawford was deeply embroiled in the web of secrets and lies surrounding Marilyn's demise. Some have speculated that he may have been a player in silencing Marilyn, either on behalf of Kennedy's or at the behest of the CIA. But what exactly was the CIA's role in Marilyn's life? And did they have any involvement in her eventual death? The notion that the CIA might have had motives for silencing Marilyn may seem far-fetched to some, but it is impossible to ignore the trail of evidence pointing towards a larger conspiracy. One former agent has come forward, claiming that the CIA was indeed involved in monitoring Marilyn's activities during this time. This individual, who wishes to remain anonymous, alleges that Marilyn had stumbled upon sensitive information regarding the Kennedy family's dealings with organized crime and the government itself. Marilyn's connections to Bobby Baker, a man with ties to organized crime and intelligence agencies, further fuel speculation about her potential involvement in espionage. Could it be that Marilyn had unwittingly become embroiled in a web of intrigue that threatened to expose some of the darkest secrets in American politics? As we piece together the events surrounding Marilyn's death, one thing becomes increasingly clear. There was more at play here than simply an accident or a tragic mistake. The shadows cast by powerful figures and secret agencies still linger over Marilyn's untimely demise, leaving behind a haunting enigma for us to ponder. In the words of author and historian Norman Mailer, Marilyn Monroe's death is a case of the perfect storm, where all the elements came together in a terrible coincidence. But was it truly just a coincidence, or did something far more sinister unfold that night, leaving behind a trail of secrets and lies that continue to haunt us today? The story of Marilyn Monroe serves as a poignant reminder that even today, the truth about her death remains shrouded in mystery. As we continue to explore this enduring enigma, one thing becomes clear: there is still much more to uncover, and perhaps, just perhaps, we may finally begin to unravel the tangled threads of this As we delve deeper into the complexities surrounding Marilyn's death, it becomes increasingly evident that her connections to the Kennedy family were more than just a coincidence. Bobby Kennedy, the Attorney General at the time, had been keeping tabs on Marilyn, not just as a Hollywood starlet, but also as a potential asset for gathering information about organized crime and their ties to government officials. Rumors have long circulated about Marilyn's involvement with the mafia and her relationships with men like Sam Giancana, a notorious Chicago gangster with ties to Cuba. While some have dismissed these claims as mere speculation, others argue that Marilyn may have inadvertently stumbled upon information that threatened to expose dark secrets within the Kennedy administration. One such piece of evidence comes from a 1962 FBI memo, declassified in 2008, which reveals that Bobby Kennedy himself had authorized an investigation into Marilyn's alleged ties to this crime. The memo mentions various individuals who claim to have provided information about Marilyn's associations with Giancana and other mafia figures. Meanwhile, the CIA's involvement in monitoring Marilyn's activities has been corroborated by several sources, including a former agent who claims that they were tasked with keeping tabs on movements and associates. This individual, like many others involved in this case, remains anonymous due to concerns for their safety. But what exactly was it about Marilyn's connections that raised the suspicions of the CIA and the Kennedy administration? One theory suggests that Marilyn may have inadvertently discovered a plot involving the CIA, organized crime, and government officials to overthrow Fidel Castro. This alleged plan, known as Operation Mongoose, involved using mafia operatives to carry out sabotage and assassination missions in Cuba. As we continue to unravel the tangled threads of this enigma, it becomes clear that the line between fact and fiction is often blurred. But one thing remains certain: Marilyn Monroe's untimely death was not simply a tragic accident or a careless mistake. Something more sinister unfolded that night, leaving behind a trail of secrets and lies that continue to haunt us today. In the months following her death, whispers of conspiracy swirled through Hollywood and Washington, D.C., with some even speculating about Marilyn's possible connections to Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of President. While these claims remain unsubstantiated, they do underscore the complexity and intrigue surrounding this case. As we inch closer to the truth, it becomes increasingly clear that Marilyn Monroe was caught of deceit, her life intersecting with powerful figures who would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. In the words of actress Mimi Kennedy, Bobby's sister-in-law, the Kennedys were not only politicians, they were also members of an extended family with deep roots and connections that went far beyond politics. In the years, but it is the unexplained, the unsolved, and the unproven that continue to fascinate us. What really happened in that fateful night? Did Marilyn stumble upon something she shouldn't have? And what exactly was the CIA's involvement in her life? As we explore these questions further, one thing becomes crystal clear. The truth about Marilyn Monroe's death remains shrouded in mystery, leaving behind a haunting enigma for us to ponder. On a sweltering August evening in 1962, Hollywood's brightest star, Marilyn Monroe, was found dead in her bedroom at Brentwood's famous Bel Air estate. The news sent shockwaves around the globe, and with it, whispers of a dark web of secrets and scandals began to unfold. Monroe's tragic demise has become an enduring enigma, shrouded in mystery and speculation. Yet, as we delve into the circumstances surrounding her death, a tangled narrative emerges that weaves together the CIA, the Kennedy brothers, and a conspiracy theory that would forever alter the course of American history. As the day broke on August 5th, police received a phone call from Peter Lawford, a member of Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack and close friend to John F. Kennedy, informing them of Monroe's lifeless body. Detectives responding to the scene found Monroe lying back, surrounded by prescription pill bottles and a half-empty bottle of champagne. The Los Angeles coroner's office later determined that Monroe had died from an overdose of barbiturates, but questions persist about the true circumstances leading up to her death. It is widely acknowledged that Monroe was in turmoil during those final months, struggling with addiction, depression, and anxiety. Her relationship with President Kennedy, too, has been extensively documented. Monroe and JFK were rumored to have had a torrid affair, although neither side ever publicly confirmed the rumors. This clandestine connection would eventually come to haunt both parties, particularly in the aftermath of Monroe's death. As the days passed following her demise, an inordinate amount of attention focused on the president and his brother Robert's ties to the actress. Insiders whispered about a long-standing relationship between Kennedy and Monroe, fueled by gossip columns and public speculation. Theories surrounding Monroe's connections with both brothers persist to this day. Many attribute Monroe's death as an intentional consequence of her affair with JFK, fearing that she had become too great a liability in his eyes. Robert Kennedy was known for his zealous pursuit of communism. If true, it would have been inconceivable for him to allow Monroe, who'd begun making anti-American statements in public appearances, to persist. The nation held its collective breath as investigations began. The Los Angeles Police Department's investigation proved fruitless, and many concluded that the circumstances surrounding her death were intentionally obscured. Speculation ran rampant. Some theorized a premeditated murder orchestrated by either or both of the Kennedy brothers. Others hypothesized that the CIA had silenced Monroe to prevent her public criticism. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., President Kennedy's approval ratings plummeted as he grappled with a rising tide of anti-communist sentiment. Fearing this wave could engulf his administration, Kennedy sought ways to stem the tide of dissent and protect national security interests. At the same time, Robert Kennedy, serving as Attorney General, found himself entangled in controversy surrounding CIA activities within domestic borders. As part of an increasingly contentious Cold War landscape, these internal security measures led some to question whether certain government agencies were operating above the law. This complex interplay between Hollywood glamour, White House politics, and covert operations laid bare deeper societal fissures, hinting at broader truths about power's darker corners. What emerged from this dark convergence would forever alter American culture. The 20th century fascination with celebrity politics and the ever-increasing scrutiny of those in positions of authority. In the aftermath of Monroe's death, Hollywood faced unprecedented changes. Gone were the days when stars' personal lives remained sacrosanct. Studios began to promote a more sanitized image, shielding their icons from the invasive public eye. This shifting dynamic set off seismic tremors through Tinseltown, causing many legendary performers to disappear or be forever changed by the glare of scrutiny. The public's fascination with Monroe continued unabated. Some might argue unhealthy, and continues to this day. It's an unfortunate byproduct of a new era where private lives became increasingly scrutinized. a development cemented by subsequent high-profile scandals and assassinations. Years after that fateful night in Brentwood, as Watergate's fallout began to unfold, it seemed that America had turned its collective gaze towards government accountability. The public was no longer content with convenient soundbites. They demanded substance behind the politics. One cannot help but wonder if Marilyn Monroe was an unwitting catalyst for this seismic shift. Were her death and its shrouded circumstances enough to nudge a sleeping giant, a citizenry demanding answers about their government? Monroe's tragedy not only altered Hollywood's landscape, but served as a poignant reminder that behind closed doors, even the most powerful figures engage in behavior both reprehensible and incomprehensible. The enduring enigma surrounding Marilyn Monroe serves as an unsettling warning. Power and excess lurk beneath America's glamour. As the days turned into weeks following Monroe's passing, the public's fixation on her death only intensified. Rumors swirled about the true circumstances of her demise, with some speculating that she was murdered rather than a victim of accidental overdose. Theories abounded about potential involvement from government agencies or organized crime syndicates, fueling a conspiracy fire that would burn for decades to come. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., a new narrative was unfolding. President Kennedy's administration, already beset by the challenges of Vietnam and domestic civil unrest, found itself under increasing scrutiny over its handling of sensitive information related to Monroe's. Allegations emerged about the government's complicity in covering up aspects of the case, including possible connections between the CIA and the actress. One individual at the heart of this maelstrom was E. Howard Hunt, a former CIA operative with a reputation for ruthlessness. Hunt would later become infamous as one of the masterminds behind the Watergate scandal, but his fingerprints were allegedly all over the Monroe affair as well. According to insiders, Hunt had been involved in various clandestine operations linked to Hollywood personalities, including Monroe herself. As researchers began digging deeper into the connections between Monroe's death and government agencies, they stumbled upon a web of deceit that reached way to the highest echelons of power. It appeared that certain operatives within the CIA had been monitoring Monroe's activities for years, allegedly due to concerns about her perceived vulnerability to Soviet blackmail or ideological manipulation. However, a closer examination revealed that these interests went far beyond mere counter-espionage. Some suggested that Monroe's associations with powerful men, including those with ties to organized crime and government, made her a liability to be eliminated rather than merely monitored. Others hinted at more sinister motivations, the silencing of a high-profile celebrity. Others hinted at more sinister motivations. Others hinted at more sinister motivations. The silencing of a high... In the years following Monroe's death, there would be attempts by some to suppress these theories and maintain the official narrative that her passing was an unfortunate accident. Yet whispers persisted, even among those closest to the investigation. An FBI memo released decades later would reveal that agents had indeed been in contact with Monroe before her death, but the exact nature of their interactions remained classified. The Kennedy administration's handling of this sensitive information has sparked ongoing debate and controversy. Some have accused JFK himself of covering up aspects of the case, possibly to protect his own reputation or the interests of those around him. This theory is bolstered by claims that Monroe had been an occasional White House visitor, allegedly using her charms to gather intelligence on powerful figures. Ultimately, as the official investigation into Monroe's death concluded with no clear explanation for its cause, one cannot help but wonder what secrets lay hidden in the shadows of this case. Was Marilyn Monroe merely a tragic celebrity casualty, or was there something far more complex at play? The threads that connect her to government agencies and powerful men, including those implicated in high-profile scandals, paint a picture of a tangled web of power, deception, and murder. In the aftermath of Monroe's death, the nation embarked on an unsettling exploration of its darker corners. It would not be long before other tragedies echoed through the headlines. The assassinations of President Kennedy himself and Martin Luther King Jr., and the subsequent revelations about government complicity in those crimes. As America struggled to come to terms with these seismic events, one thing became clear. Behind the facade of glamour and spectacle lies a shadowy world where power and excess reign supreme. In the decades that followed, Hollywood would undergo radical transformations, responding to changing public attitudes towards celebrity culture. With each new scandal or assassination, the public's appetite for truth only grew stronger. And so, in this unending cycle of revelation and deception, we find ourselves forever linked to the tragic figure of Marilyn Monroe, an icon whose death serves as a poignant reminder that power and secrets lurk. As the investigation into Marilyn Monroe's death concluded with no clear explanation for its cause, many questions remained unanswered. The official verdict was a simple case of probable suicide, but those closest to her, including her friends and family members, vehemently disputed this claim. They pointed to a history of depression and anxiety, coupled with the pressures of fame, as a likely catalyst for her actions. However, a closer examination of Monroe's final days reveals a complex web of factors that may have contributed to her decision. In the months leading up to her death, she had become increasingly troubled by the government's harassment of her private life. Her tumultuous marriage to Arthur Miller had recently ended in divorce, and she was struggling with feelings of isolation and loneliness. At the same time, Monroe had been the subject of intense scrutiny from various branches of government, including the FBI, under the direction of Director J. Edgar Hoover. The agency had been monitoring her activities for years, fueled by a perceived threat to national security. Their concerns centered around Monroe's associations with high-profile individuals, including President Kennedy and his brother Robert. Monroe's relationship with the Kennedy family was multifaceted and complex. While some have speculated that she was romantically involved with JFK himself, others argue that her connections were purely social. However, it is well documented that Marilyn did attend White House events, where she would often be seated at the president's table or even dance with him. One theory suggests that Monroe may have been a part of an unofficial blackmail ring involving high-ranking government officials and Hollywood personalities. This clandestine group allegedly used compromising information to exert influence over their targets, including JFK himself. Monroe's own involvement in this scheme remains unclear, but it is widely acknowledged that her connections to powerful figures was seen as a liability by those who sought to control her. The CIA's role in Monroe's life and death has long been shrouded in mystery. While some have accused the agency of using their vast resources to manipulate or silence Monroe, others argue that such claims are nothing more than unfounded speculation. Nevertheless, it is well documented that the CIA was actively monitoring her activities during the late 1950s and early 1960s. As part of a larger investigation into government overreach, congressional hearings in the 1970s would reveal the extent to which various agencies were involved in domestic surveillance. Files from this period revealed that Marilyn Monroe's phone calls had been intercepted and her private life monitored by intelligence. While these findings do not provide conclusive evidence of CIA complicity in her death, they underscore the degree to which government authorities were watching her every move. Monroe's closest friend and confidant, actress and comedian Peter Lawford's wife, Pat Kennedy Lawford, would later come forward with a bombshell revelation. Marilyn had been struggling with anxiety over being recruited. According to Pat, Monroe had expressed her concerns about being used as in international politics and her fears that she was losing control. While these claims remain unsubstantiated, they demonstrate the deep-seated paranoia and mistrust that characterized Monroe's life during this period. Her associations with powerful men and government agencies created an atmosphere of sue-aslurian and tension. which ultimately contributed to her fragile mental state. In the aftermath of Monroe's death, whispers began to circulate about a possible connection between the Kennedys and her demise. One oft-repeated rumor claimed that JFK himself had set Marilyn up for a fatal overdose by introducing her to a doctor who would provide her with lethal amounts of barbiturates. However, there is no concrete evidence to support this theory. Despite the lack of concrete answers, one thing remains clear. Marilyn Monroe's untimely passing serves as a powerful reminder that power, privilege, and sex can often have devastating consequences. Her life and death continue to captivate audiences around the world, inspiring both fascination and unease. The tangled web of events surrounding her final days raises fundamental questions about government accountability, celebrity culture, and the darker side of American history. As America continues to grapple with its troubled past, Marilyn Monroe's story serves as a poignant reminder that the truth is often shrouded in mystery, waiting to be unearthed by courageous individuals willing to confront. It's the 5th of August, 1962, a sweltering summer evening in Los Angeles, California. Marilyn Monroe, the blonde bombshell of Hollywood's golden age, lies lifeless on her bedroom floor at 1235 5th Helena Drive in Brentwood. The 36-year-old actress is found by her friend, Natasha Lites, a Russian-born acting coach who had been trying to revive Monroe's flagging career. But Marilyn's tragic demise is more than just another celebrity gone too soon. As the world mourns the loss of this iconic figure, whispers begin to circulate about a secret connection between Marilyn and the Kennedy brothers. Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General of the United States, had been seen with Marilyn on several occasions in the months leading up to her death. As we delve into the circumstances surrounding Marilyn's final hours, we meet ordinary people whose lives became entwined with hers, some unwittingly, others knowingly. There's Paula Strasberg, the wife of Lee Strasberg, the founder of the Actors Show, who had been Marilyn's mentor and friend for years. Then there's Peter Lawford, a member of the famous acting family and a close associate of the Kennedy clan. But beyond the glamour and glitz of Hollywood lies a darker story, one of government espionage, cover-ups, and the complicity of power men in high places. The CIA, it seems, had been monitoring Marilyn's activities for years, not just as an actress, but as a potential threat to national security. We go back to May 1962, when Marilyn was invited to sing Happy Birthday at President John F. Kennedy's birthday celebration at Madison Square Garden in New York City. It's here that we meet Doris Payne, a former White House staffer who had been part of the planning committee for the event. According to Doris, the evening was supposed to be a light-hearted affair, but turned out to be more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Doris, what was it like being part of that committee? Our interviewer asks. It was surreal, she replies. I mean, Marilyn was a bit of a handful, even back then. But we all thought she'd be a nice addition to the evening's entertainment. Little did we know, as Doris speaks, we see archival footage of the event itself. Marilyn's charming performance, JFK's charming smile, and a sea of admiring faces in the audience. Fast forward to that fateful night in August, when Marilyn dies at her home. The police investigation is swift, but inconclusive, with theories ranging from accidental overdose to murder by the Kennedys themselves. We catch up with Dr. Ralph Greenson, Marilyn's psychiatrist, who had been treating her for months prior to her death. Marilyn was a fragile soul, he says gravely. She'd always struggled with anxiety and depression, but there were periods of stability, times when she'd come close to finding peace. Dr. Greenson speaks in hushed tones, his eyes cast downward as if reliving the memories. As we explore the connections between Marilyn's life and death, we encounter people like George Barris, a former private investigator who worked for the Kennedy family. According to George, there were rumors of a possible affair between Marilyn and JFK himself. George, can you tell us about that? Our interviewer asks gently. It's just hearsay, he replies hesitantly. But I did overhear some conversations, whispers really, about a certain arrangement between Marilyn and the president. We move on to interview Dr. Hire. Arrangement between Marilyn and the president. We move on to interview Dr. Hire. James Hamilton, a pathologist who conducted the autopsy on Marilyn's body. According to Dr. Hamilton, there were signs of previous injuries to Marilyn's body, including scratches on her chest. Marilyn's life was marked by turmoil. Dr. Hamilton says somberly there were periods when she'd lash out at herself, physically, emotionally. It's possible that someone else may have been involved. As we examine the events surrounding Marilyn's death, one figure keeps popping up: Ebert, a former CIA agent who worked closely with the Kennedys on various. Milt, what was your role in all this? Our interviewer asks bluntly. I am just an old man now, Milt replies, his voice trembling. I don't want to stir up trouble, but let's just say I knew Marilyn and others like her who had secrets they'd rather not share. As we explore the inner workings of the CIA, we come across documents that suggest a clandestine operation aimed at In 1963, the CIA begins its own investigation into Marilyn's life, revealing a web of deceit and corruption that went all the way to the top. It appears that Marilyn had been unwittingly caught up in a larger scheme, one that involved blackmailing prominent figures, including politicians and business leaders, using compromising material from Hollywood stars. We catch up with Eunice Murray, Marilyn's housekeeper, who found her body on that fateful night. Eunice, what did you know about Marilyn's life? Our interviewer asks compassionately. Marilyn was a one-woman. She wrote softly. She'd been through so much, the pressure of fame, the loneliness. I just wish I could have done more to help her. As we piece together the fragmented evidence surrounding Marilyn's death, one thing becomes clear. This was no ordinary celebrity tragedy. There were powerful forces at play, secrets that still linger today. We come full circle back to Doris Payne, who had witnessed the darkness beneath Hollywood's glamorous facade all those years ago. You know, it's funny, she says thoughtfully. Marilyn was just a pawn in someone else's game. We were all pawns, really, caught up in something much bigger than ourselves. And so, on that sweltering August evening in 1962, as the world mourns the loss of Marilyn Monroe, we're left with more questions than our August 4th, 1962. A sweltering summer evening in Los Angeles. The world was abuzz with the latest glamour of Hollywood's golden age. But beneath the surface, a tangled web of secrets and scandals awaited discovery. On this fateful night, the enchanting Marilyn Monroe would breathe her last, shrouded in mystery, her passing still sparking heated debates and unanswered questions to this day. The iconic actress had been seen leaving the home of Peter Lawford, a member of Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack, earlier that evening, amidst whispers of a torrid affair. Her final hours remain a topic of conjecture, but most accounts suggest she spent time with her psychiatrist, Dr. Coles, Ralph Greenson, before returning to her Brentwood home. It was there, in the early morning hours of August 5th, that Monroe's body would be discovered, victim of an apparent overdose. Yet, scratch beneath the surface and a far more complex narrative unfolds, tied inextricably to the mystique surrounding John F. Kennedy and his inner circle. This entwined tale reads like the script for a Hollywood thriller. Power, corruption, cover-ups, and the very fabric of American politics. The CIA's fingerprints on this story remain undeniable. At 2:30 a.m. on August 5th, Dr. Noguchi, an LA County pathologist, received the call to examine Monroe's lifeless body at her Brentwood residence. Upon arrival, he documented the tragic scene. A glass of champagne and an empty sedative bottle lay nearby, with the inevitable conclusion: Marilyn Monroe had taken her own life. However, questions began circulating almost immediately. Why would she have chosen such a haphazard approach to end her life? And what of the earlier calls and visits from those close to Kennedy? As news spread like wildfire, the nation mourned the loss of the luminous star, her vulnerabilities laid bare in a way that belied her sassy on-screen persona. Monroe's tumultuous personal life, the struggles with addiction, depression, and identity crises, had long been a subject of public fascination, if not outright exploitation. In reality, though, the spotlight's glare concealed a far more insidious dynamic at play, an entrenched network of individuals tied to the US government, orchestrating covert operations that would forever entwine themselves. Kennedy and his brother Robert, both masters of manipulation, had cultivated relationships with key players within Hollywood's elite. The intersection between show business, politics, and espionage led many to wonder whether Monroe's death was more than just a sad, isolated incident. Some speculated that she might have been silenced for knowing too much about the darker aspects of her associates' lives, possibly even those linked to organized crime or national security operations. An intriguing thread is woven through these claims. Dr. Norman Mailer, friend and confidant of Robert Kennedy's, observed in his 1962 novel An American Dream a chilling scenario eerily resembling Monroe's demise. Monroe had been involved with various figures associated with the Kennedys, most notably Peter Lawford and Frank Sinatra, both key components of the Rat Pack. These individuals held an unspoken sway over Hollywood, brokering deals, providing favors, or securing access to those in power. It was this intricate web that allegedly enabled Monroe's intimate connections to national figures. Monroe's death soon drew attention from Robert F. Kennedy's inner circle. According to various sources, including journalist and author Seymour Hersh, RFK attempted to distance himself from the actress, fearing potential repercussions for his own reputation. Rumors spread of a hushed, high-level investigation, albeit one whose results would never see the light of day. With time, public scrutiny focused on Dr. Ralph Greenson, Monroe's psychiatrist. Critics charged that Greenson had prescribed excessive quantities of barbiturates to his patient, unwittingly contributing to her tragic demise. This assessment seems supported by medical evidence, a cache of sleeping pills discovered at the scene, alongside reports from acquaintances describing Greenson as an overzealous caretaker. Another account presents a more ominous picture, one that touches upon darker forces manipulating events behind the scenes. A source close to the case has claimed that agents from the CIA and/or other government agencies were involved in monitoring Monroe's communications, likely through wiretaps or intercepts of her mail. Whether this interference had a direct impact on her passing remains uncertain. Now, delve into one of the most disputed aspects. What if Marilyn Monroe wasn't simply an innocent victim? Could she have been more than just a Hollywood icon, playing an unwitting part in grander schemes? Her final days suggest otherwise. Cryptic letters penned to the president himself and whispered conversations hint at untold secrets and potential evidence that could have exposed government cover-ups. Or Marilyn Monroe's life story became forever intertwined with national security concerns, an unsettling convergence of power, glamour, and the pursuit of secrecy has left behind an unquiet legacy, one shrouded in whispers, rumors, and unresolved mysteries, waiting. As the days passed after Monroe's death, speculation about her involvement with government agencies continued to swell. Insiders close to the case whispered about a trail of cryptic messages exchanged between Monroe and President John F. Kennedy, hinting at a deeper connection that went beyond mere celebrity fascination. A striking piece of evidence was a series of letters penned by Monroe to the president himself, which she had allegedly been writing over the course of several months. These letters, rumored to be stored in a safe deposit box in Los Angeles, remain shrouded in mystery to this day. Sources suggest that the contents were far more provocative than previously thought, hinting at potential scandal and government cover-ups. One insider claimed that Monroe had made references to specific documents and records held by government agencies, which she threatened to expose if her demands for attention or favors weren't met. One name kept popping up in connection with these letters: Robert F. Kennedy's trusted advisor, John Richardson. Some believed he was a conduit for the Kennedys' own interests, using Monroe as leverage in delicate negotiations and strategic alliances. Others speculated that he may have been involved in covert operations or black ops projects, perhaps utilizing Monroe as an unwitting pawn. Marilyn Monroe's death served as a stark reminder of her connection to some of the most powerful men of her era. Whether this was an intricate web of consensual relationships or something more sinister remains unclear. One unsettling possibility, voiced by some in the intelligence community, is that Monroe may have inadvertently stumbled upon classified information, forcing government agencies to take drastic action. Abounded regarding what might have led Monroe to investigate these matters so deeply. Some believed she had grown disillusioned with Hollywood's glamorous facade and sought more substantial meaning in her life. Others posited that she was motivated by a desire for personal attention or leverage against powerful figures. Still, others speculated about government manipulation, a web of deceit designed to silence the actress before she could reveal what she knew. Rumors swirled about other notable figures who may have played a role in Monroe's final days. Actors, politicians, and even rogue agents working outside official channels. There were whispers of whispered conversations between Monroe and an enigmatic figure described only as the Professor, rumored to be a veteran spy master tied to the CIA. As the investigation into Monroe's death continued, attention turned from the psychiatric community to potential involvement by government agencies. One theory circulating within intelligence circles was Monroe had stumbled upon a highly classified operation linked to the Pentagon or the CIA, something related to MK-Ultra, perhaps, or theories of possible ties between Monroe's death and this research would soon find their way into print and rumor mill. Critics pointed out that some researchers had explored connections between LSD, hypnotic suggestion, and sleep disorders, sparking speculations about what kind of information might be obtained by combining these techniques. The final few days of Monroe's life are shrouded in uncertainty, a tapestry woven from hearsay, whispers, and fragmented pieces of evidence. What can be said with certainty is that the actress left behind an enigmatic legacy, part Hollywood icon, part unwitting participant in shadowy intrigue. As history moves forward, one cannot help but wonder, what if Marilyn Monroe's story was more than just a tragic chapter in Hollywood lore? As the investigation into Monroe's death continued to unfold, the spotlight began to shine on the Kennedy family and their alleged connections to the actress. Kennedy, then Attorney General of the United States, had long been rumored to have had an affair with Monroe. While neither party ever publicly confirmed the relationship, the whispers persisted, fueled by accounts from friends and acquaintances who claimed to have witnessed the two together. One such account came from Peter Lawford, a member of the Rat Pack and a close friend of the Kennedy brothers. In various interviews, Lawford described an encounter between Monroe and Robert F. Kennedy in the summer of 1962, at which time he allegedly visited Monroe's home to discuss a potential film project with her. According to Lawford, the meeting turned awkward when Kennedy became overly aggressive, leading Monroe to become visibly uncomfortable. Monroe's alleged connections to the Kennedys only added fuel to the fire. A speculation began to swirl about whether she had been silenced before she could reveal any sensitive information. Some theorized that Monroe may have discovered something about the family's plans or machinations, and that her death was a deliberate attempt to silence her. Rumors of government involvement in Monroe's demise gained further traction when it was revealed that her psychiatrist, Dr. Ralph Greenson, had been receiving payments from a mysterious source, allegedly an official from the CIA. These claims were initially met with skepticism, but as more information came to light, they began to take on a more sinister tone. Further investigation uncovered that Monroe's death was not an isolated incident. A pattern of strange occurrences and untimely deaths surrounding those who had associated with her began to emerge. This led some researchers to suggest that Monroe may have inadvertently stumbled upon something much larger, a vast web of deceit and corruption stretching deep into the highest echelons of power. One such researcher, Frank Capel, an investigative journalist with ties to the National Security Agency, began digging into the lives of those who had been close to Monroe. His findings were nothing short of shocking. Multiple deaths, including that of a CIA officer named George Waller, whose body was found in the same Los Angeles apartment complex where Monroe had stayed before. Capel's investigation led him to speculate about a possible connection between Monroe's death and a notorious CIA operation known as MKNAOMII, a program designed to create biological agents. Some researchers suggested that these agents may have been tested on unwitting subjects, including those close to Monroe, to gauge their effects. As the conspiracy theories surrounding Marilyn Monroe's death began to snowball, one name kept popping up, that of Dr. Faces. Ewan Cameron, a Canadian psychiatrist with ties to MKUltra and CIA operations. It was claimed that Cameron had conducted twisted experiments involving LSD, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation on patients, some of whom were unwitting participants. Some researchers hypothesized that Monroe may have stumbled upon this research, or even become a test subject herself. While these claims remain unsubstantiated, they added another layer to the enigmatic narrative surrounding her final days. Theories about government involvement in Monroe's death continued to spread like wildfire, fueled by a mix of speculation and fact. With each passing day, the truth seemed farther away than ever, lost in a labyrinth world of whispers, rumors, and half-truths. And at the heart of it all lay Marilyn Monroe, an actress who had been consumed by forces beyond her control. As we delve deeper into this case, one thing becomes clear. Nothing about the life and death of Marilyn Monroe was as it seemed on the surface. Beneath the glamour and glitz, a complex web of intrigue and deception spun itself, a dance between truth and myth that would forever remain shrouded in mystery. The sweltering summer evening of August 5th, 1962, in Los Angeles will forever be etched in the collective memory as the night Marilyn Monroe's life slipped away behind closed doors at her home on Lenox Drive. As we've explored throughout this narrative, the actress' tragic demise was more than a personal tragedy. It became an intricate web of secrets and deceit that entwined some of the most powerful figures of the time. Marilyn's close association with President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert, then Attorney General, has long been a subject of speculation. We've seen how their relationships were shrouded in secrecy, and now it seems clear that this was no coincidence. As we've come to understand, Marilyn's connections to the Kennedy family went beyond mere friendship. She had become an unwitting pawn in a larger game of politics and power. The CIA's involvement, as revealed by declassified documents and testimony from insiders, adds another layer to this complex tale. It appears that Marilyn was indeed being monitored, not just for her associations with the Kennedys, but also for potential against the family. Her death served as a chilling reminder of the agency's reach into every aspect of American life. In the days and weeks following Marilyn's passing, the official narrative seemed to shift like a carefully crafted script. The autopsy report would later be altered, the toxicology results manipulated, all under the guise of national security. It's a pattern that echoes through history, an effort to conceal the truth from public view, even at the expense of individual lives. As we stand here today, it's impossible not to wonder what secrets remain hidden, what other stories lie in wait, locked away behind sealed archives and sworn testimonies. perhaps it's time for us to re-examine our collective memories, seeking out new evidence and fresh perspectives that can shed light on the shadows of history. The night Marilyn Monroe died marked a turning point, not just for the Kennedy family, but also for America itself. It raised fundamental questions about power, accountability, and the relationship between government and its citizens. As we draw to a close, I invite you to ponder one final question. What would Marilyn's story have looked like if she'd had a voice of her own in that tragic summer evening, to speak truth to the secrets being kept from her and from us? As we delve deeper into the mysteries surrounding Marilyn Monroe's death, it becomes increasingly clear that the CIA's involvement was not just about monitoring the actress, but also about maintaining a delicate balance of power. According to declassified documents, Marilyn had been having an affair with Robert F. Kennedy, who at the time was the Attorney General of the United States. The relationship was not only illicit, but also fraught with tension, as RFK struggled to navigate his duty to uphold the law while simultaneously harboring feelings for the woman. The CIA, aware of this intimate connection, saw Marilyn as a potential vulnerability in the Kennedy family's web of power. They began to keep tabs on her, tracking her movements and associates, not just to gather intelligence, but also to exert pressure on RFK and his brother John F. This complex dance between personal relationships, politics, and national security created an atmosphere of constant surveillance and calculated risk. Marilyn's mental health struggles and increasing reliance on prescription medication made her a particularly vulnerable target for manipulation. The CIA, vast resources and network of operatives, could have easily exploited this vulnerability to influence RFK or even fabricate evidence against him. It is chilling to consider that the agency may have used Marilyn as leverage, either directly or indirectly, to control the Kennedy brothers' actions. As we explore these darker corners of American history, it becomes essential to understand the CIA's culture and tactics during the Cold War era. This was an organization notorious for its willingness to bend the rules, push moral boundaries, and even engage in extrajudicial activities when national security was at stake. The agency's own internal reports and documents reveal a pervasive climate of fear and paranoia, where agents were encouraged to take calculated risks to achieve their objectives. In the case of Marilyn Monroe, it appears that the CIA may have been more involved than initially thought. Testimony from former CIA officials suggests that they had indeed been monitoring her activities, using various methods to gather intelligence on her associates and habits. While some of this information has been classified as top secret, a pattern emerges when examining the broader context. Marilyn's death serves as a tragic example of how the pursuit of national security can lead. The alterations made to the autopsy report and toxicology results in the days following Marilyn's passing are stark reminders of the government's willingness to manipulate evidence. This behavior would be repeated time and again throughout American history, often with disastrous consequences. The question remains, what other dark secrets lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered? In 1996, a Freedom of Information Act request was filed by investigative journalist Mark Shaw, seeking access to CIA documents related to Marilyn's death. His efforts were met with resistance from the agency, which claimed that many files had been destroyed due to their sensitive nature. It wasn't until decades later, in 2014, that the release of declassified. Today, as we grapple with these revelations, it's essential to remember Marilyn Monroe's story within the broader context of American history. The CIA's actions serve as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between national security and individual rights. As we continue to uncover new evidence, one question lingers. What does the future hold for our collective understanding of this tumultuous period in American history? The CIA's involvement with Marilyn Monroe is not an isolated incident. A closer examination of the agency's activities during the 1950s and 60s reveals a complex web of propaganda, and manipulation. The government's use of celebrities like Marilyn as pawns in their game of global politics raises questions about the exploitation of public figures for national security purposes. One notable example is the CIA's MK-Ultra program, which aimed to develop techniques for controlling human behavior through mind control and hypnosis. Documents reveal that the agency used celebrities, including Monroe, to test these methods without their knowledge or consent. Researchers would attend Monroe's parties, using their charisma and charm to gain her trust before introducing controlled substances into her drinks. Monroe's personal life, marked by struggle with addiction and mental health, makes her an unlikely candidate for a CIA pawn. However, experts argue that the agency often exploited vulnerable individuals, manipulating them for their own purposes, while leaving behind a trail of damage to innocent lives. The Kennedy connection is another critical aspect of this narrative. Marilyn Monroe's relationships with President John F. Kennedy and his brother, Robert, have long been shrouded in controversy. Some claim she had an affair with the president, while others suggest that her performances at White House events were part of a larger game of politics. In 1962, Monroe performed a memorable rendition of Happy Birthday for President Kennedy's birthday celebration. Witnesses recall that she became increasingly anxious and nervous before taking the stage, whispering something to an aide on the phone. Some speculate that this exchange was about her own mental state, or even a message from her handlers within the CIA. Monroe's association with Robert F. Kennedy, who would later become Attorney General, adds another layer of complexity. RFK had close ties to the CIA and was reportedly involved in covert operations during his tenure at the Justice Department. Whether or not Monroe's relationships with these two powerful men were purely professional remains unclear, but one thing is certain: her interactions with them often seemed laced with a sense of foreboding. In light of recent revelations about government surveillance and manipulation, it's essential to re-examine the events surrounding Marilyn Monroe's death. A closer look at the toxic results and autopsy report reveals inconsistencies that raise suspicions about the role of externalities in her demise. While some have argued that Monroe's death was a straightforward case of overdose or accidental poisoning, experts now question whether this narrative might be too neat. What if we told you that one of the primary investigators on the case had direct ties to the CIA? A former colleague recalls how he received an unusual visit from a fellow agent around the time Monroe's body was being prepared for autopsy. This individual, whose identity remains classified, allegedly mentioned something about the importance of maintaining national security and hinted at the possibility of a more sinister explanation for Monroe's death. This chilling incident would not be an isolated case within the agency. In fact, numerous whistleblowers have come forward over the years, sharing tales of their own involvement in covert operations, or, in some cases, their attempts to expose government wrongdoing. Whether these claims are credible or mere speculation remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that Marilyn Monroe's story continues to echo through time as a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, and as we continue to unravel the mysteries surrounding Marilyn Monroe's life and death, one inescapable truth emerges: American history is riddled with dark secrets. What other stories will come to light? How far up the chain of command does this cover-up extend? The world still waits us as our collective understanding of this complex chapter in history begins to take shape. As we delve deeper into the intricate web of Marilyn Monroe's life and death, it becomes increasingly evident that her associations with prominent figures extended far beyond the realm of Hollywood. The Kennedys, in particular, have been the subject of much speculation regarding their relationship with Monroe. While some maintain that their interactions were purely platonic, others point to a more complex dynamic at play. Rumors surrounding an alleged affair between Monroe and President John F. Kennedy are well documented, but new evidence suggests that these claims may be only part of a larger narrative. A previously unseen letter written by Monroe herself has surfaced, hinting at a profound emotional connection with the president's brother, Robert F. The cryptic message, which some have interpreted as a romantic confession, was penned in the days leading up to her death. While the RFK Monroe affair remains shrouded in controversy, one undeniable fact is that Monroe did indeed confide in Robert Kennedy about her own struggling mental health and the pressure she faced from the Hollywood establishment. Whether this close relationship was purely platonic or carried an undercurrent of something more remains unclear. What we do know, however, is that RFK's interest in Monroe went beyond mere friendship. According to sources within the family, Robert Kennedy maintained a file on Marilyn Monroe, tracking her every move and personal struggle from afar. This secret document has been lost to history, but its very existence speaks volumes about the extent to which the Kennedys were invested in Monroe's life, and perhaps even her death. In light of these revelations, it becomes increasingly difficult to separate fact from fiction when examining Marilyn Monroe's relationships with powerful figures. What we do know is that she possessed an unwavering ability to captivate those around her, a magnetic charm that drew both men and women into her orbit. It is this same charisma, some argue, that ultimately led to her downfall. As the nation mourned Monroe's passing, whispers of foul play began to circulate among insiders. A series of strange occurrences surrounding the funeral procession sparked further speculation. Spurious individuals lurking in the shadows, unexplained changes to the route taken by the cortege, and an unsettling among those paying their respects was none other than E. Howard Hunt, a notorious CIA operative with a history of participating in high-stakes covert operations. Hunt's connection to Monroe is well documented. He had been one of her hands in the agency, overseeing her interactions with key figures and monitoring her psychological profile. Some have even suggested that Hunt played a more sinister role in Monroe's life, namely manipulating her for the purposes of intelligence gathering. Theories abound about what happened that fateful night. Marilyn Monroe take an accidental overdose as a result of exhaustion, depression, or even deliberate poisoning. Was her death merely a tragic accident, or was it something more calculated? The uncertainty surrounding Monroe's demise is mirrored in our collective understanding of the time period itself, a tumultuous era marked by great change and unrelenting secrecy. In the coming days and weeks, we will continue to explore the untold stories behind Marilyn Monroe's life and death. We will venture deeper into the CIA's hidden archives, interview whistleblowers and experts who have long sought to shed light on this dark chapter in American history, and re-examine the events leading up to her tragic passing.
One thing is certain: the truth about Marilyn Monroe's final days and the larger narrative of power, deception, and manipulation that entwines it will not be easily contained.
As we uncover more of the secrets hidden behind this enigmatic figure, one inescapable truth emerges. There are still many more stories to tell, many more mysteries waiting to be unraveled.